Um, so yeah, them dude, none of them can answer, but like nobody will tell me.
So basically, like that day, I was on vacation and I was in Louisiana with family, and evening I had seen like everything that had happened in the schedule chat. And because for some reason, like I had told Carl, like I started getting notifications from Messenger. I'm never on Facebook anymore. So I'm like, what the hell? Knowing I had all the chats muted. So I went, I checked it, and I saw the whole debacle over the group funds in there. And I went into the later that night after I got back to my room and was hanging out with my parents. I had made a message in the flash chat, and it was this long message, and I told him that, that we once had the world. We did as a group, and we crapped the bed, like, it happens. And I also include it, and it's the part that always gets, left out. I had said that I had a self-disappointment, being that I was, disappointed in myself as well, because I stepped down to, although I shouldn't be, I stepped down to focus on my reality. But I felt like everything just kinda spiraled down, and then I watched you leave, and Rich, and, Glenn, and then John just the other day, and I was all confused with it, and, uh, I ended my long message with, "I genuinely wish you all the best, I love you all." Um, and I think it was Pat that came in and, you know, like, instantly came at me and was like, "Oh, you're gone for 4 months and you come back and tell us we suck now, like, just stay lurking." And I'm like, "Well, damn, like, I never said any of that." Like, I was trying to be polite to you guys, and I blamed myself as much as anybody else, but me being me, I responded and said, I'm not saying you suck now. Like, you've always sucked. You're just worse now." And
Jesus Christ.
and and um and so then I start getting these messages. I think it was Jordan had messaged and was like, I messaged you because I had brought up, since I stepped away, I hadn't really heard from many people except for like you, Rich, Carl, like that's been it.
Yep.
And, Jordan told me he messaged me, which he did like a week after, I had stepped down. He had messaged me, and I talked to Andrew as well,
Yeah.
and even Chris. And replied back, polite. Chris came in and he was like, "Hi," and I said hi, and like those guys came at me with respect. I showed them respect back. Like I never went in there to disrespect anybody. And so then Nathan Tribby, I guess that's his name, he starts coming. And what I didn't know at the time was that just an hour and a half before, he was bragging about how good the group was doing. And then an hour and a half later, I come in here and kind of crap on it.
Right.
And he starts coming at me, and I just told him, like, I'd never said any of that, but if the shoe fits, then it is what it is. And he just keeps it going, and Craig Lee did try to calm the situation, and I told him, like, "I'm calm, I'm not angry, I just spoke my opinion." And he was super chill about it. Josh had hit me up after, and all of a sudden me and Pat start going at it. Me and Tribby start going at it, and I told Tribby, I'm like, "Look, like, unless you're new here," which he is, like, watch the tone. Like, I'm being polite. Like, I will kick you. Like, I warned them. I was like, I will kick you. And they kept going back and forth. And me and Pat are going, and all of a sudden I'm typing and I see Will Overton has removed you from the chat. And I'm like, dang, okay. And all of a sudden I just back out. I was done. And I'm still in all the other chats, the admin chats and all that. And then I see that Carl had removed me from the admin chat. And I'm like, they're just like taking me out of these chats. And I kind of hit this moment where I'm like, like, what do I do now? Like, you know what? Let's go into the group and let's just start kicking admins. So I hop into the group and I just banned them from the group. I think Pat was gone. I sent Will Overton out. I sent Nathan Tribby out. I sent Josh Casey Smith out. Like I just started banning everybody. And I
Damn.
knew they were gonna get to me. I knew they were gonna ban me. But my thing was like I left cards 4 months ago. And
Mhm.
so there was nothing they could do to me. And I was already fed up with it. And I'm like, you know what? Like I'm just launching everybody. Well, then I get banned. And so while in the process of all this, I'm talking to Rich, and I'm blocked by Glenn. I don't even know why. Still, I'm blocked by Glenn, and because he had already left the chats as well. And so all this happens, and Will messaged me first, and he told me to just come on, man. Like he was polite, and I told him, like, "Nah, like, you removed me from the chat. I didn't do anything, like, to hell with that." So then, Carl messaged me, and I felt kinda bad, but I snapped on Carl. And I'm like, "No, dude, like, you booted me, you chose your side." And I knew that Carl was told to do it by the other admins, and he was just trying to keep the peace and settle everything, but I was ready to roll. And I got home, I left it alone, I was with some friends, and that night I was like, "You know what? Like, where things get a little more deep about the collective." I think you were in there when they accidentally added Mike Gawkey, if that's how you
Oh,
say
yeah.
his name, to the
Mhm.
flash chat, and
I
everybody
remember.
started panicking. They started
Yep.
freaking out. And that crossed my mind, and I'm like, you know what? I can do that. So I made the post that all of a sudden, like I started getting spammed with friend requests, people wanting to see the screenshots. I never actually intended on posting screenshots, but I knew it would rile them up.
Mhm.
Um, and then Ezak comes for me, Connor comes for me, and I'm like, dude, like, I get their frustration in the comments of because I told them like, you can't bother me, you can't hurt me, you don't have anything on me, and it wasn't to be cocky, it wasn't to brag, it was me saying like, I'm not in this hobby. Like, there's nothing like I stepped away completely. Granted, I still have love for it. There's still helmets on my wall, but that side, I guess it's not as much the hobby as I left the casino.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like I get all these messages and I'm like, well, what do they have on me? And so I start thinking and I'm making sure that my slate is clean. And I'm like, well, me and Nick Gamil had our problems, but we were very public with our problems. And me and Jake Bailey had our problems and we were very public with our problems.
Very
And
public.
then, even Melissa is awesome. If you've ever talked to her, she's awesome. And I talked to her a good bit, and, I had said last year in the chat, and that may have been the only thing, and they may not have stooped that low, but I was like, "Oh, like, she's good looking, like, well, I'm like, "Damn, maybe they throw that." So I went and messaged her the other day. Me and her were messaging, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, I said this about you last year," like, and she was cool with it. Like, I've always been very upfront. So at that point, I knew there was nothing on me, and everything kind of spiraled from the situation with you and Glenn that day.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was just like I reached out to Glenn, making sure he was good because I thought, we were boys. Like he's who brought me in. I also, reached out to you, and I'm like, because we're boys, and I'm like, I want to make
Mhm.
sure everybody's good. I'm trying to be a
Yeah.
peacekeeper,
Yep.
and all of this just happened.
Yeah.
So it's been
That's
wild.
yeah, I bet. I got, like, a lot of questions, like, uh, uh, questions with my own situation, but just a few things to touch on, like, some of the same guys that commented on your post, like, Connor and I talk a lot, and he saw that, he messaged me and like, it kinda hit hard in the way it should, like, he's like, "Dude, like, you're one of my favorite platforms. Like, dude, this is, like this sucks, because one of his favorite rooms and just, he's tight with
Right.
everybody
Yeah.
everywhere. And he's like, it blows. And then like, and I was like, yeah, this is fucking dumb. I had a lot of guys reach out a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, it, I did some I don't understand. I don't know what the deal with Glenn is and what the issue is. It is what it is though.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you saw everything. Everybody that knows me, we talked about it. I mean, there was just some questions that I had that weren't getting answered, and I guess I can see where he would come off thinking I was saying he was lie still cheating. That's not what I was doing, but the longer you don't answer fucking questions, the
Right,
more inquiring minds want to know. And what what bugged me is like I wasn't the only one. And
right,
I talked to Pat, me and Pat brought me into the collective.
right,
We go back forever, and I was like, so what are they saying about? I had no clue what
right,
happened with
yeah,
you. No clue at the time, you know what I mean? This is like
right,
right after. And he's like, fucking rude, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what? And you know, and I think he was so frustrated with what happened there. He wasn't like kind of listening to what was going on with me. But either way,
right,
I did it to myself as far as like it probably would have been fine. Nobody would have booted me. First of all, I don't give a single solitary fifth of a fuck where I get booted from. What I'm gonna
right,
do, what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, yeah,
but with that said, I'm not trying to, what the fuck? I'm not trying to hurt nobody's pockets or whatever. None of that. That's
right,
not the goal. But I was pissed at Glenn for a bunch of reasons, and I fucking dropped that video because Kane, with the whole flash, and I put it right in the collective chat, and I could see, where admins and mods that thought we were cool as fuck are like, dude, RC, what the fuck, bro? Totally understood. But in the moment, I was like, dude, fuck off.
right,
But
yeah,
either way though, a lot of people have reached out. And so instead of retyping it and explaining it, because anybody can hit me up and ask, and I'll tell you, we had an admin card fund for some of the admins, not all of them. And it wasn't crazy. Um, Glenn borrowed from the scam fund to purchase the cards from for the admin fund, and we were going to do all that. And then he got MIA, and questions were being asked, but I was the point man to ask the questions, and it just kept getting ignored. So here I am taking my family to Pittsburgh so we can go. The kids can see Morgan Wallen, and
right. Good taste.
dude, right? Oh, it was a good show. Ivan was pissed. He wore boots though. He's like, I shouldn't have wore. I should have wore
Oh,
slides.
yeah,
But anyway, so like this all happens. I'm trying to be with my family, but I'm getting frustrated because Glenn 2 weeks ago he can't fucking answer anybody, and now he's like definitely without saying he's coming at me. It was obviously at me, and what I'm thinking in my head is, who the fuck is telling him that I'm saying he's stealing or whatever's in his head because that's
right,
how it came off. So it just spiraled from there. But I'm a fucking immature sucker puncher, dude. That's me. It shouldn't be like that, but that's me. I'm terrible.
right, hey,
So just don't fuck around, and because I'm not
right,
gonna do that. And that's a little overblown, but all this shit happens, and fucking, I've been on the slide, and like, I'm not in flashes. I'm not playing in lines, and there ain't a lot of dudes hit me up. There's some, which side note, all the guys that left, you, Andrew, fucking John stepping back, Dutton, dudes that just bounce, you guys tell me nobody's really hitting you up. And I feel fucking terrible because a lot of these dudes are at least saying what's up. That might have a lot to do with I put shit out a lot. So, maybe. But
right,
so I'm not getting hit up as much. But then you put the post up, and it, just like you said, about 50-75% more just people hitting me. Everybody asking me questions. Cats I haven't talked to in forever, and they're like, what's Yoshi talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like,
right, yeah,
and I'm like, I really don't know. And like
yeah,
some dudes hit me up and they're like, am I on this? And I'm like, I don't know. Did you do something? Like, I can't tell you what's in his head, man. That dude's
right,
been in the collective since the beginning.
yeah,
I haven't, I'm newer than a ton of people. I
right,
saw a lot of stuff happens, but Giarno was already gone when I got in there. Nick was already gone when I got in there. So like, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I do know, I'll say this, I never want to be an admin again.
mm,
But if I
no, I'm,
was, or if somebody were to ask me a question, if you have admins, they're all involved. You don't fucking leave anybody out.
Yeah.
If you want to leave them out, they shouldn't be an admin. They can be a mod. They can improve fucking lines, whatever, whatever. That shit bothers me. And if we have a fucking chat and I can screenshot everything, don't fucking play the sideline and not say nothing because it's right there. And it ain't even a
Yeah.
big deal. It ain't a big deal. It's not a big deal. So don't make it a big deal. Like fuck,
Right.
dude.
And
Stupid.
I think that's the big thing, and I missed it, and you touched on it there was the because that was the thing. Like I made the post about the screenshots, and then I turn around and I drop this teaser for this yesterday.
Which was
And you
sweet,
were
by
the
the
first
way.
one, you commented, like, instantly, and I knew I was like, I was like, "I'm gonna go ahead and, like, basically give it away without giving it away." I'm like, "Oh, you especially are gonna love this." And I'm like and I started getting messages, from all these different people, I mean, admins of other groups, mods of other groups, and they're, "Am I on the list? Am I on the list? What are they saying about me?" And I just kept telling them, like, it'll all come to light, and because that's my big thing, and it's one of those where, like you just said, the one of the things that frustrated me was the amount of chats. And a
Yeah.
lot of like unless you're on the collective team, you don't realize there's, 40 chats. And
Hmm.
it's because, oh, Rue can't be in this one because we're gonna talk about him in this one, and Pat can't be in this one because we're gonna talk about him in this one, and so on.
Right.
And like it shouldn't be like that. Like
No.
where that was supposed to be a team, and all this is happening, and it's I was a part of that team for 19 months. I've been in the group for 22 months, and I watched all this like go on, and I wasn't stupid. Like I knew there was other members on the team that didn't care for me. Other members on the team knew I didn't care for them, but I always tried to keep the peace. I don't know if you were in there when Nick was in there.
Mm-mm. I came
We
in right
got we
after.
got into it pretty badly one day. I mean, we got into it bad. And Glenn and Rich asked us to calm down, and I did and that's the same thing I said in my comments the other day was I calmed my tone to represent a position of no value. And because that was one of the big things, like Glenn and Rich had told me from day one, I was in the group like a month, and they had told me, like, we want you on the team, like, but you're very hot headed. You got to calm down. You got to, and I did. I calmed down. And like I said in the same comments, like I was tamed all that time because I had to be. And as soon as I stepped down, the lock fell off the gate was open, and I went running.
Yeah.
And now it's the now it's this whole and I'm not trying to completely destroy each one of them. I just want there to be truth. I don't like the secret animosity. I remember a time where a couple of us had talked, a couple of us admins and mods were having a discussion, and you came up, and it wasn't anything bad, but I had reached out to you that day because it was one of those where all of us had the same mutual feeling of you were feeling very used and undervalued. And I was like, damn, like I hope I don't play a part in this. And I messaged you that day, and we had a long conversation, and you told me I played no part in it, and I just wanted to check up on you because you've always been 100% genuine, like in everything you say, everything you feel, and but I could also see like what you were saying because there were times where I was running minis for flashes, and nobody else wanted to learn minis. And then Will wanted to. Me and him have our little issue right now, but still, shout out to him. Like he took the time to learn them.
Hmm.
Nobody else wanted to help. I remember Carl's dad having some serious health issues, and we were gonna run a flash for him. You were there for that one, and I was at work. I was slumped that day, just trying to get stuff done, and I fell 3 hours behind on the list, and I still had it done at close. None of them can do that. and
I know I couldn't.
it's like nobody else wanted it though. Why? Because we weren't getting paid for it. Like
Yeah.
nobody wanted anything to do with a charity flash because they weren't making any money.
Did you feel like that a lot with those things?
With what things in
Well,
particular?
like, so it's hard for me to speak on the host. And so like, okay, let's talk about it. I banked. I was scared of lists. Like, they made me nervous and shit. It took me a minute. Like, my first fucking banking was a fucking admin fucking flash. And like, dude, I got fucking annihilated, you know? And like, I got four people telling me how they do it. And I was terrified. And I ended up, I think it, oh man, I think it was Terrell who said he did it pen and paper the old school way. And I was like, I'm going to do it that way. So I got fucking sheets of paper, names and check marks like a fucking moron. Didn't work for me, but like, so I was intimidated as shit. But I'd also be like, man, I need to learn how to do lists because them motherfuckers make more money. And
Yeah,
I'm tagging like I should because, we're trying to get you know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
and but I didn't. So like, when those charity ones came up, I'm like, I'll bank for free. I don't got no problem with it.
right,
But
yeah.
I'm scared of these damn lists. But so like when you reached out to me when I was, pretty frustrated, part of it was on me because I took a lot on and I wanted to, but I just noticed like, fuck, man. It's just not an equal distribution of the work. And when you really notice cats, when it would bother me, it was like, oh, because they just show up on their fucking host night.
Yeah,
And that's how it was. And I'm like, why the fuck aren't you guys, responding to everybody? Now these motherfuckers are just straight DMing me because I'm the only person that fucking answers. That's my fault. And you told me that. I remember you were like, stop. You gotta stop
yeah,
because, and like I said, I take ownership of that because, I could have put more limits on it. But I was burnt out. So with that like flash host idea or like doing stuff, did you feel like that was a common theme with a lot of those cats or
yeah. And I think that was there was a lot of them. I mean, for me, like I can't say like I was always fast at hosting. Like I remember my very first flash. It was a Jordan Love card for Connor, and I botched it. It took us 3 hours to fix the list. I mean, it was terrible. And a lot of people are going to see this and hate this, but the reason I became so fast with flashes and lists was Patrick Ziarno. And a lot of people hate him for a while. I didn't care for him. Me and him, we had our issues at a time too. We're back good now. We, talk here and there. He taught me everything because I used to run like five, six, 700 spot list and type each one individually. I had no idea about text repeaters or any of that.
right?
And who showed me like all of that. And then I think there was a little bit of there was the animosity between me and Jake Bailey, and Jake Bailey's another one that's fast. He is fast, and I picked up some tips from him and Megason. I learned,
Mhm.
watching him, like these are guys that are quick. And for me, it was the concept of, well, I'm gonna get through this flash as fast as I can, and then my job's done. But there were times where I saw like and that was always my issue is here I am making now, granted, I can't say it was an issue because I was loving making my 9, 10, 11% per flash.
Mhm.
But I also felt like the banker should have made more. And when Dutton promoted the idea to knock hosts down from like 10 to 8 and bankers from, 5 to 7, I was all for it. Carl was all for it. Like we were, but of course, you got the other guys that are going to disagree just to disagree because they just want to host. They don't want to bank. They don't want to.
Yeah.
And hosting is, as you said, it can be intimidating,
Mhm.
but not nearly as bad as bank. I hate banking. I'm also another one that would bank pen and paper. Like I would get, and I would be fine until the last 5 minutes, and you got 80 payments coming in at once, and it's like, oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did feel like that. There's a lot of guys in the collective where I felt like they only showed up when it was time to host,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
like one of my issues was at one point, I was blowing through money bad, and I've never been the type to tell somebody, "Hey, like I'm in a jam, like, I gotta leave this alone. Like, I just kept going, like, digging the hole deeper and deeper to the point where, I almost had to call for help to pull me out of the hole. And it was difficult because I'm watching other members of the team get flashed in fire pools, Cartastic, Card Pub, all this.
Mhm.
And I'm supporting every single one of them. And then you hop in my one personal flash a month and you throw me $5.
Yeah.
Like, and I appreciated the five, but it's also like you're making sure your pockets are lined.
Mhm.
And like I get that too. But then, like I sit here and I watch like the struggles of flashes and in the collective. And I told somebody today, I was kind of talking to them about groups and different things and like the way different groups operate. And I told them, like, don't get me wrong, the collective from when I first joined as a member, there was like 600 members in that group. And now I think they're over 6,000. And that group has become very successful. It's also had some very down times,
Mhm.
but don't let the picture, define what it is, because the collective is very successful, but I've also seen flashes go under. I've also,
Yeah.
we've been in the chat where they're like, grab me 20 more, grab me 40 more. Like they're bailing these flashes. That's
Mhm.
not success. Like, and
Right.
there was a few that got upset at me because I was always open, like, hey, I'm not coming out of my pocket to save this. Like, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
And that was always one of the big issues. But then you see these other mods or admins playing in the card exchange. They're playing in Cardtastic. They're playing and they're dropping money.
Mhm.
And but yet for their hometown, for their home team, they're giving you the change from the 20 they just broke.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's
For sure.
so so it's just one of those where like I never got into that, and I was one that also played in exchange and played in Cardtastic, like like exchange. They Mike Williams is an admin there. Like I've always, had love for Mike, and William with Cardtastic, he's always been upfront. I've always had love
Mhm.
for him. So, like I've never really talked to him a ton, but they've always been like class acts.
Yeah.
So, I go, show their group some love because I never really had a problem with anybody. And I think that was my big thing was, um, like yesterday I was talking to Nick Gamil, and he was pretty much asking me what happened the other night as well. And I gave him the rundown, and he had told me that him and Pat are still friends, just as you and Pat are.
Mhm.
And I told him, I said, and I just completely changed the subject. And because that's my thing, like,
Yeah.
because me and Pat have our issues, I don't expect anybody else to dislike him. This is me and him. When William Bokel was shunned from cards completely over all that stuff that happened to him, like,
Mhm.
remained friends with him, and nobody ever pointed a finger at me. Everybody just said, you know what, that's you handle it. That's your friend.
Yep.
And that's kind of where it just stayed. So I don't, I just don't like the secret animosity. I don't like all the chats where they talk about each other. I don't like, wondering, where the 3% of every flash since March has been going because it's
Shit.
not like that's one of the issue. Like these flashes are happening every night. There's 3% coming out to go to the group fund,
Mhm.
but the group fund has been the same account, and that person has been inactive for 3 4 months now. So yeah, that's a bit shady. Like it is what it is. Like,
As you can see why I asked the question,
yeah,
I mean, it was a
the
fair fucking question.
the admin cards, as you mentioned, like I lined one of them. I think it was a hollow Bo Nix or a hollow Caleb Williams, and they're basically getting good deals on them, and then flip them, and then we
Yeah.
suppose, a certain amount of us would split the profit, and then that just vanished. Nobody heard about that again,
Right.
and it's like,
Well, when Carl
okay,
paid
like,
me out, like Carl, the next day he hits me up and he's like, "All right, me and me and Will have the fun now. Glenn's gone. We did the math, blah blah blah. This is your payout. Drop me your, whatever you want me to send it to." And I was like, "All right." And then I was like, "What about the skeins?" And he's like, shit, I think we have it figured." He's like, "Wait, do you have it?" And I'm like, "Nah, Rich does." And that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, how the fuck? Like, come on now. And listen, I I'm not trying to come at Carl like that. He's a busy dude. He's got a lot of shit going on.
Right.
I don't miss shit. Trust me. I might I might not say something there. Dude, ask anybody in these other rooms, man. I talk to I don't miss shit. This is why I
Right.
do what I do. I don't miss shit. I just might
Right.
not say nothing, but and again, I, it Pat being the dude who brought me in there. You know how hard it was for me to fucking not talk to him about it?
Right.
Like the dude brought me into the room, got me a mod spot, then they bring me up into the admin team for God knows what reason. You guys are fucking idiots.
I
And
was like,
then
yeah, that was like that was me, Rich, and Carl were like, we got to get this dude. Like you were doing more for the group as a member than half the mods were and are still doing.
well, and so
So
and you know why that is? One, before when I was trying to run my room, some of you got like you were the first person outside of my guys in there that I had as a runner. You were my first, and I would tell guy, they're like, "Can I use so and so?" I'm like, "Nope, got to use
right,
him." And then we'll go from there if we can't get a hold of him. The way Jordan Hill, dude, he was always like just fucking awesome to me, like everybody. And then the members. So like truly everything about it was fucking awesome. So why wouldn't I put all these fucking eggs in that basket? It was the shit. It
right,
was the shit. Everybody treated me good. It was great. And I got burnt out.
right, yeah. And
And,
that was you go ahead.
no, I was just saying, and that's I think what happens to all of us, dude.
Yeah, and that's, like, I still remember that at that point in time, I don't think you had, like, fully came over to the collective yet, and I remember, like, you messaging me. I think that was one of the first times we talked, asking me to run, and I thought that was the coolest thing because no other group had reached out to me at that point. I was still kind of like, I knew how to run, but I was still kinda, like, a month in. I was only running in the collective, and I'm running over here now, and I'm like, "Hey, like, this is pretty cool," and then, like there's another group out there called Midwest Fire. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm not sure.
They're run by Justin Holmgren.
Oh, okay.
Holmgren.
I know who he is. Yeah.
Um, it's a Vikings group and
Oh, wait.
really cool
Wait.
dude.
Hmm.
I've always, had conversations with him. We've always got along really well. And it was one of those where like me and him had conversations about me coming to Flash and his group, be a host. And I was all for it. Out of respect, I went straight to Glenn and I was like, hey, because I was playing heavy in Midwest. I was dropping, probably $300-400 a week just playing in there and always chasing Justin Jefferson stuff.
Right.
And he was, at the time excited for me. And I'm like, "Heck yeah, like, this is cool," but I also never liked the downside of, and you were there for a lot of this, was like, oh, like, it was almost like if we played anywhere else or joined any other groups, we would be shunned.
Yep.
Like, if we communicated with these people, like, we would be shunned. Like, we weren't allowed to talk to certain people. I remember
Shit.
nights where, like, there was, animosity in the chats
Yes.
because Winkowski, didn't show up. And like I remember nights like they were praying for him to show up and save the Flash.
Yep.
And same after him, who was the other one? Matt
Villain.
Villain.
Yep.
He was another one, like,
That's my dude, man.
and I watched, like these are we're relying on these guys, but you guys are blasting Firestarter for the same thing.
Right.
Like, like
Right.
why are like you're mad at Firestarter because you love or hate Firestarter. I don't even know if there's still a group. I've been out
Oh,
of it
yeah.
that long, but like love or hate them, like they've got it figured out. Like they got the
Yes, they
money
do.
makers. Like they are making money.
Yes, they do.
So like it's one of those where like you can be mad at them all you want. You can't deny the hustle. And
No.
the card pub has always been like they're a lot like the collective. I feel like, that's always been like my number two behind collective because I was always standing by the collective. Card pub was always a close number two because Like I love Megs, and I talk to Craig Stark all the time, and even Skyler grew on me. I used to hate Skyler. Dude can't roll the right numbers to save his life, but I used to like all those guys. Like I just become friends, and it's the same thing I had told Melissa recently. When all this was going on, was for me it was the money was nice. I'll never deny that the money wasn't nice, but I much more enjoyed the friendships and relationships that I built through the hobby before it became the casino. And it's crazy because it's now to a spot where I talk to you, I talk to Rich, I talked to Melissa Stark, and I had called Carl on Saturday, after everything had happened, and I just apologized to him for like crashing out on him, like, but and I left it at that, and haven't really heard
Mhm.
from him since then. So, I
Well,
don't know I don't know what happens
well,
next there, but
to be fair, I mean, he's working like nights or third shift, whatever the fuck it
uh
is, busy as fuck, dealing with what he's dealing with, and I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm not saying that's what it's not. I'm just saying who the fuck knows, right? And it's the same thing
right.
Glenn said. Like, dude, that was the most dickish shit I ever did when he's talking about fucking whatever sickness he had, and I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck. Oh, dude, I was such an asshole, man. I was like, dude, fuck you and your feelings. I don't care. But like, they're not wrong, and
Right.
there's a lot of shit going on, and that's why, dude, it was the shit, dude. One of the things that killed me is like, when we did them videos, um, we did a bunch of cool ones for the collective, and then I don't know what happened. Well, you left, Andrew Charret, my French Canadian teddy bear, left. Uh,
Shout out to Andrew.
that's my guy. Yeah. Uh, and I put out a few for the guys. I was like, hey, send me the videos. I explained how to do it. And it just didn't come back. And I kind of knew right then and there. I was like, this it ain't what it was a month ago. And that's fine. Um, but I'm not a fucking I'm not a flipper like that. I collect and I buy and sell, but that's not my thing. I
Right.
do this shit and that's what I'd rather do. So that kind of got me pushing that way. And I was just doing way too much. But I can tell you this, man. Like I had a few admins. I made some as an admin in the collective. I see where they're coming from. I'm basically making videos talking shit about flashes and lines and support, and it's kind of what I'm doing. It's kind of not. But I'm gonna do it. And Jake hits me up, Bailey. Um, we were talking about one of my posts, and like it started off. I don't want to say negative, but like not. Like we weren't on the same page. But I
Right.
listened to him, and I agree. Like, yeah, from your perspective, because he's like, you should step down, and I was like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. That makes total sense. But we ended up talking for days, and he was kind of breaking it down, the way he does his stuff, and I loved it. I was eating it up the same way like Will broke, the same way Denman breaks it down. Like all these dudes that run rooms, I got one coming up with Durkee, and I am fucking pumped.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, talk about a guy who does his own thing in a room that does their own thing, and and kill it. Like I'm so excited to hear from this, and so I told everybody, I was talking to Jake, and poof, boy, did things change there. And I'm like, come the fuck on, man. Uh-oh, man down.
Yep. That's no, but I
But
get,
you know,
yeah, like it's and Jake Bailey, you know, I think the whole thing with Jake Bailey, I never knew Jake Bailey, and got into the hobby. He knew Ziarno and Glenn, and I remember like pretty much, and that's the thing. That's what I say. Like they talk about everybody, so they're talking about him and me. I'm not one to, and that's where it's very devious. It's very, some could say it's very conniving or very sketchy. I'm not a big I'm not a big guy when it comes to talking about other people unless I'm talking to other people, but I'm always gathering information. I'm going to gather everything I can
Yep.
and I'm going to use this. And that's how it went with Bailey. And I remember one night, and looking back now, I feel like it was almost done on purpose. I remember Glenn came in the chat and was saying something about Bailey. And I replied in the chat and I said that the problem with Jake Bailey was that he hadn't met his match yet. And Glenn, I guess, went to screenshot another message, and my message is across the top. And then he sends it to Jake Bailey by accident. So now here's this animosity between me and Jake Bailey, who have never talked before. And it goes, quiet for a while. And then one night there's a flash and fire starter, and they tag Glenn and then they tag me, and I'm not a member, but they tag me, and then Jake Bailey says something along the lines of, because my name popped up gray, and he was like, "Oh, guess he met his match." And I'm like, "Dude, it's been 8 months. You're still thinking about what I said?" So me being me, my alt was still in there, and I hop in the middle of Nick Gamil's flash, and I just, let everything out on Jake Bailey. And they're deleting my comments, and I'm just copy and paste over and over, just, destroyed this flash.
Fucking
So
Wreck It Roo.
he messages me, Jake Bailey messages me, and he's crashing out and I'm crashing out. And, we pretty much just, left it alone after about 2 hours of arguing. And then I guess about 3 or 4 months pass. And he messages me apologizing for everything. And I message him right back, same thing. A moment of anger. I said more than I should have, that's on me. And then we end up becoming buddies. And that's where things started becoming a problem. I think that's where there was a lot of tension toward me in the collective, because now I got Bailey in my corner. And this goes on and on for a
And
while.
when
And
was
that was
that?
one of the things. Huh?
When was that?
That was November, December.
Fuck. How the fuck did I miss all that?
Yeah, it was right around the time I started like fading out. And it's funny
No shit.
because Bailey said all this stuff about the collective. All he hated the collective. And I would always defend the collective. And that's one of the things I told Glenn the other day, and the message didn't go through. But when the I ended the message with it's crazy to believe, but Jake Bailey was right all along.
Oof.
Like everything that he said about the collective was 100% true. Like the crap they talk about people, like there's still people in there that are telling me stuff going on in there. I know, because of when I posted, or when I started banning them, I was already out of the chat. I know they were in there panicking, wondering how to stop me. Like I got sent the screenshots, and then the very next that night I post that I'm about to post screenshots, and they start talking about that. I know that they were in there talking about, oh, my contribution points are gone. Like you still have, like, there will forever be somebody telling in that chat.
For
And
sure.
I'm just sitting here like, this is wild, this is funny, but
Oh my
it's
god.
like getting all these messages of, and I was very open with somebody the other day, and they asked me, they were like, "Well, are you gonna post the screenshots?" And I said, "It's not worth posting the screenshots. I said, I got another idea." And that's when I hit you up, and I was like,
Mhm.
like, I think we should, because I remember you asking me some months back about an interview, and then I kind of
Mhm.
got out of the hobby, and I had told him, I was like, well, like, he said, who all are they talking about? And I pulled out a list that looked like Santa Claus. And I told him, I said, like they don't right now, I'm top of the list. But,
Mhm.
like there's,
Yeah.
Kyle Walker, they Mike Gawkey, they have their problems with Justin Maxwell. Like there's this whole like list of people. And that's my thing, like, don't be secretive about it. Just
Right.
tell the person like how you feel. As
Yeah.
even with the issues that me and Nick Gamil had, me and him were messaging yesterday, and that's one of the things that him and I told each other was I always had respect for Nick, and Nick always had respect for me, even as I mean, we got violent in the chat a couple of times, but I always had respect for him because he was telling me the things that everybody else was scared to.
Yeah,
And it was the same thing back. And like, that's the, like, be vocal, be honest. Like, I'm not going to, at the end of the day, it's just cardboard.
dude, that's it, man. How many times was somebody afraid to address something? How many
Exactly.
fucking times? How many times was something the biggest deal and then they turn around and appease that individual, promote that individual? You know, it's like,
Right.
yo, but here's the thing, man. Fuck it. You know, like so my wife's like, "What are you guys gonna talk about? Some gay card shit?" And I'm like, "What's that supposed to mean?" And she's like, "You guys are bitches with dicks." And I'm
Hey,
just like, "Yeah." She's not wrong, you know,
right.
because
Yeah.
it can be soap operish, but we do invest a fuckload of time here. So
Right.
like, of course, like so, and I told her, I said, "I don't know what we're gonna talk about. I don't even know if anybody's gonna want to hear it." And she goes, "Psh, you'd be surprised." And I'm like, "Yeah, you ain't lying. Like, you know, everybody's gonna
Yeah.
want to hear it. It's fun, but like it's crazy. Like, dude, I was talking to Maxwell the other day and I was like, hell yeah, man, pay up, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's that's the only thing. I love that guy. Me, I love him. I am also not worried he's not gonna pay me the $6 fucking dollars or
right.
25 or whatever, you know. And that's what I was gonna say. That's something I like. Jake told me how they do it over in Firestarter, formerly known as the Coliseum. Uh, back to Firestarter. I don't know what happened there, but I like the
Yeah.
name Firestarter better. I'm not hating on nothing. I don't know. I just
right.
thought about it. Um, but the banker's job, if I understood him right, is to go get the fucking money. The Flash is gonna run. Your job is to go get it. We're not waiting on $20. We're not waiting. That's you. You're getting paid to go do that. So go do that.
Right.
I like it. I like it. I was like, that's good. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of rooms that do shit. I got some buddies that started up some smaller rooms that are starting to bubble. Um, and
I was told to reach out to one of those groups the other day about hosting.
really,
So that's yeah. What Bailey, Jake Bailey had messaged me and him were messaging right after all this happened, and I told him I said I kind of want to do a couple of host spots just to, and one of those groups you're referring to, I won't say them, but they're one of the groups that that I inquired at, and another one was Razzle House was also interested, and there was a few of
dude.
them.
Yeah, like it's that's another thing. Like you can't tell me that. I can't tell you who to talk to, who your relationships with. I can't tell Pat to not play in the 49ers room because you're not going to tell me not to talk to my dudes in the exchange.
Right?
You're not going to tell me to not talk to my dudes in Fire Poles and Firestarter. Like, get the fuck out of here. Those are my buddies.
Yeah,
I might not even play. They're my friends. I talk to them. You know, we talk about other shit, or maybe I will play. I'm really not playing much anymore, though. Dude. Once I
yeah,
got away from the gambling, it's hard for me to like do it. I'm like, well, I'll just go buy the fucking card. Like, it's so
yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck was I thinking? Like, I'm not
right,
addicted to it anymore, and it's wild.
exactly.
And another thing is, so I've been booted from 2 admin positions now, and it kind of hurts my heart. Like father, like son, cards and breaks, the collective, and the same day the same week the collective boots me, fucking Fanatics drops me.
I
I
saw
just,
that.
dude, just got put on with them because I got my buddies from Enigma who do helmets talking mad shit, and they email me and like I'm like, oh man, but I got a buddy that has a YouTube show, Professor Sports Cards, and we talk, and I love his lives. Like he's usually Tuesday and Wednesday nights, and if we got nothing going on here, like I won't be able to soon because of football season for Ivan, but 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whenever he goes lives, I chill and I watch, and they have, it's my kind of shit, content shit.
Yeah,
And he hit me up today and was like, "Hey, can I use your email? I'll cut your name out." So you ain't gotta cut my name out, dude. Like
yeah,
I'm an
hey,
open book, But
right,
like, so
yeah,
that's where I've been. I'm over here trying to fucking. I went from my Facebook paying me like $7 a month to like in the last 2 weeks, I've made a couple $100.
Oh,
in the
heck
last
yeah.
2 weeks. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but, like, now my shit's blowing up, so I'm gonna lean into it a little bit, and
And see,
I
it's
don't know.
fun because like the videos, like everybody likes the videos. I don't think there's maybe like one or two videos that you've put out that I haven't watched. Other than that, like, like I said, even the last 4 months, like just lurking the shadows, like I still see your videos pop up. I still watch those. I
That's cool.
I scroll I scroll my reels, and everybody likes videos. Everybody likes to, and it's funny because as you just said that your wife said, like, this is kind of what everybody's looking for. Like, I, talk to these different people and I'm like, oh, did you see the Yankees won today? And they're like, no, but did you see this drama on TikTok? Like,
Right?
that's what they're into. They don't care like who won the game. Like
It's crazy.
they want to know the detail because drama sells.
Yes.
And for
Well,
for me for me, for you, and I think that's why we're on, like, this even ground right now is because, like, no matter what, like, we're done with all that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we have, our collections, like, I don't really care, like, and I had told Josh, Casey Smith that the other day. He was messaging me after everything happened, and I told him, like, I haven't always been like this. Like, I used to be a super shy kid, like, wouldn't talk to anybody. And then, like, one day I woke up and I just stopped caring. Like, all of a sudden, like, now I'm walking through Walmart, like, strutting around like Obafemi on WWE, and, I'm hopping up on stages with Jesse Murph, and
which was
I'm just
awesome.
like all the shame that I used to carry is gone because it's one of I think it was the realization of, like, this is I only get one time around the sun. Like,
Correct.
I get one go at it. So, like, I'm never gonna make everybody happy.
Right.
But I got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old that adore me, and that's the most
Mhm.
important thing.
For sure.
So, like, for me, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna say this, and if they don't like it, then, because it's like going through those comments the other day. Like, I had a lot of, like, mixed emotions because I could tell, like, with Connor, I haven't heard from Connor away from those comments, but I could tell, like, he didn't want anything to happen because that is one of Connor's favorite rooms. And I have, nothing against I love Connor. Connor is
Yeah.
awesome.
He's awesome.
And like, I'm sitting there like watching that, and I'm, me and Isaac, we get into it, and I just had this sarcastic, like, personality to where I think he had told me, and we fixed everything after, it's all good there. But, like, in the moment, he had told me, that it was, very high school girlish. And me being me, I said, "Give me a wig. Like, come
Yeah.
on, let's do it." And,
That's what
and
prompted
that
my
was the
comment.
thing. But the thing that got me was, and it's what I've preached from day one. And he said in the comments, and if you go back through those comments, we kind of veered away from it, or he had veered away from it. And it was, him saying, like, why do this? Like, anytime I've had a problem with somebody, like, I went to them directly. I was raised to go to them directly. And, and that was my thing is, and I told him, I was like, I'm so glad you said that because that's exactly what I'm preaching about. Go to them directly. I went to
Yeah.
y'all directly and y'all banned me from the group.
Right.
So, like, it goes, so I guess it's the be a man, under their terms.
Right.
And I'm just like, I don't have, time for that. Like, and that's the whole, we had a chat for like the last 8, 9 months now. There was a group chat, and it's just me, Carl, and Rich. And even after I stepped away, I was still very active in that group, with us three. And we used to, like, we never talked about cards. And Carl always respected that me and Rich were just done. But we would talk about, like, our kids and everything else. Like, and Carl told me the other night when I started booting people, he was at a block party and I fucked it up for him. But, and I laughed. I'm like, well, like, the moment. But then there's these other chats, and it's like, another name I'll throw out there, and me and him, like, I don't know where we stand now. There's no bad blood on my end. You may have been there at the time, but Winston.
No, I was there, yeah.
So me and Winston, there was a lot of animosity toward him and myself, and he felt like, I didn't do much because I never checked the queue, which there was a group of us that didn't. Andrew didn't, I didn't.
Yeah,
Like it
all of
was,
you motherfuckers, that's who didn't.
and so we like had our issues, and like we would snap on each other all the time, and he was just like he was a pipe bomb. Like he was ready to snap on everybody any second. Him and Rich got into it, and I
Yeah.
think what got me was I stepped down one night and I sent this long message that everybody saw and, said like I want to focus on my reality. Like last year, there was a lot I missed out on last year. My daughter was invited to her very first birthday party and I was scheduled to host that night and nobody wanted to cover for me. So I missed her first birthday party.
Oof.
And like I'm missing, my boy was in All Stars baseball and championship and I missed his game because I'm flashing. And that's the stuff that people on the outside don't see.
Mhm.
That's, stuff that happens in the group. And I remember the day after I stepped down to focus on all of that, um, wasn't even 12 hours later, I checked the chat the next morning and Glenn is trying to replace me with Winston.
Yep, I remember.
And I'm like, dude, what? And so I went and messaged Carl and Rich and I'm like, is this real? Like, I've been going 12 hours and you're trying to replace me with the dude that hates me. And at that, I think that was kind of my point right there where I was like I knew I was never coming back. And I knew then I was gonna have issues with Glenn, which is crazy because like when I left, like I had copied and pasted that message and I sent it to Glenn because I knew it would get lost in the chat. And because it was kind of I think everybody saw that coming. Everybody knew I had distanced myself, but it was still like a bombshell.
Yeah,
And it's like, what happens next? And Glenn's the only one that's like panicking, like, what are we gonna do? Like, I'm just one person. Like, just, have somebody else take my host spot.
yeah.
But, like that happens and I message Glenn and he sends me this long message the next day telling me he wished me nothing but the best and all this just bullshit, just him
Oh, damn,
feeding
you
me
got one
more
of those
shit.
messages? That's nice.
Yeah, well, I had to
I
I
said,
had
"You
to
got one of
message
those? I
him.
didn't get one."
Yeah, I had to I had to send him a long message. So he sends me one back. It was nothing but bullshit. And then he vanishes. Like I don't
Yep,
hear from him. And I'm like, what happened? Like he's just gone. And then all of a sudden, we don't talk. And I go down to Louisiana and late March, because that's where me and him are both, from down there. And
yep.
I message him and don't hear anything back. And then all this happens the other day with you two. And at first, like going back to it, because I'm like, why am I getting these notifications? But that was the only chat I didn't have muted. So I get to scrolling back up like 4 hours after everything, and I'm reading, and the way y'all are talking to each other, I'm sitting here. At first, I thought it was a joke because it was the kind of language that it was like, if this isn't a joke, like there's about to be a shootout. Like
Yeah.
it was violent. And then I went on, and I'm like, oh, like this is serious. So I messaged the chat with Carl and Will or Carl and Rich, and I'm like, hey, like, what the hell's going on? And so then I figure out like everybody's got the same question that we all have, and pretty much the same thing. Like, the same thing I was shunned for because I said what everybody was feeling. You said what everybody was feeling, and they shun us. That we're out of here. Like,
Yep,
and I see it and I'm like, what the heck? So Rich has enough. And like Rich completely deactivates Facebook.
yep.
And then I see Glenn leaves all the chats and I'm like,
Did you see
wow.
what I
So
said
then
right after? Oh, you might not have, because as soon as he left, I was like, "Does that mean we're getting our money?" Like,
I did see
it's
it.
I thought it was funny, but nobody laughed, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm on my own on this one." Alright
Yeah,
then.
like because I didn't see it till like I saw everything. I guess like 4 hours had passed because like I was in Louisiana hanging out with my family and all that, and I catch up to it that evening, and I'm like, oh my god, like what is
Yeah,
this? And I was sitting there with my mom and dad. And, my mom, they'll see this, they'll probably boot her. She's still in the group, and And I'm talking to her and I'm giving her like the rundown of like what's going on. And she's telling me like, oh, like you don't do it anymore. And I said, no, like it became too much. Like you wanna, focus on reality. And for me, like I enjoy it now more to where I'm not seeing cards every post down my feed. Like I go down my
Man.
feed now and I see, the guys that I've been collecting with, out on dates or with their wives. I see you post Ivan and I'm like, fuck yeah, like
Mhm.
this is what it's about.
Yep.
Like, and then, I watched a couple weeks ago, may have been a month, may have been longer than that. It was the last actual flash I was in. Before that, the last flash I was in was I remember like 2 weeks after I stepped down, you had won poll card.
Yeah.
And I hopped in that one and I stayed out for like 2, 3 months. And then there was the issue with Justin Maxwell's friend's kid
Yeah.
and with the dog. And
Yep.
they had a flash for him and I, sent some money in. Like I didn't even check to check back. I just sent some money and I was like, because that was my thing. Like I've always liked Maxwell. Like, we
Mhm.
we had one issue one day and it was because and I'm it's funny looking back and like we laugh about it looking back, but I had a Jamar Chase Zoom case hit and he wanted it. And he said he wanted it. And I was like, okay, and I was waiting on the payments. And like 12 hours passed and I still hadn't got a payment. So I sold it. I'm like, this dude just ghosted me. So then the next day, like he messages me looking for it, trying to buy it. And I'm like, dude, I sold it already. Like you ghosted me. And in the moment, he was heated. Like he went and messaged Rich, talking about, you need to watch this dude. Like this dude's on some shady. And I'm like, dude, no, like you just ghosted me. So I moved on. And then we ended up being cool, and like I've like always liked Maxwell. He's a Bengals fan too. Who they? But
Yeah, it's
we we
super gay.
we like that he's one of those guys. Even Mike Gawkey. As much as they dislike him, like I've always liked him as well. And
I
it's
don't
it's
so much of this shit happened, like, before me to, like I'm not related to the Hatfields or the fucking McCoys, man, but, like, Geicky was cool as fuck to me, like,
yeah.
like, I don't get it. Ugh,
And
I
he
just
was
don't
he
get it.
was one where I will say like, and I think it was just like being fed the bullshit of the group. Like they had convinced me and I'd convinced myself that Gawky was this bad dude. And then
But
I start
why?
talking just like because pretty much to sum it all up, because he joined Firestarter.
Okay.
But because he joined Firestarter and then
Oh,
him
right,
and
when we
Mac
were talking about making him a mod or whatever.
yeah, and
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
him and Maxwell, they're buddies. So it was around the time I had started my Joe Burrow Optic Rookie Rainbow. So I started like communicating with them and like the three of us would like talk pretty regularly. And I never had like I don't really have I could say right now outside of that collective team, I don't think I have issues with anybody. And even with the collective team, like for me, I can say like I don't have an issue there. I just felt like I needed to clear the air, get everything off my chest. Like they're gonna dislike me and like that's cool. Like I'm completely for, you don't have to you don't have to like me, just it is what it is. Like, I'm still here. I'm still doing the same things that I've always done, still talking to the same people, and there's just this animosity toward everybody. Like, and it's like you said, like you're not gonna stop me from talking to my buddies in the card exchange. You're
Nope.
not gonna, like Mike Williams, like, and for me, and like I used to play in card exchange pretty heavy, and then like I slowed way down even before I backed away from cards. But I would still like hop in the comments of random posts just to talk crap to Mike Williams. And granted, like we've had like maybe 3 conversations in private, but he just seems like such a chill dude. I know I could talk shit to him and he'll laugh. Like I just mess with him. And same for, go off to fire pools. Like I don't have a problem with any of the dudes in fire pools. I've been talking to a couple of the dudes now from Razzle House.
Uh-huh.
Really cool dudes over there. I think that we're just kind of shunned by, the collective over, oh, they're copying us. They're running minis with their flashes, like, and it's like, okay, like who cares?
And
Like,
that's the
like
thing,
we're
like, we had mods that were in both rooms, like, fucking relax,
yeah,
you
and
know?
I'm just sitting here watching it and I'm like this is crazy. And I guess for me, like I remember the biggest thing, the one thing I remember from the whole argument, like in the chat that night, because like I was seeing red. And
Mhm.
the one thing that I remember was me and Pat were going back and forth, and he told me, like not to make threats because I wouldn't like the way things turned out. And that was, where I got that quote from on my post. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't really care how things turn out. Like, I'm not in this anymore. So I went ahead and, I made my post, and then here come friend requests, messages, all this. And I think the moment of realization for me was had a couple of odd admins from other groups that the collective, some they love, some they hate, but I had a couple admins message me directly and ask me how it felt to be the hero to throw a punch at the big bad bully, exact words.
That's
And
crazy.
I kind of got this like little rush out of it, and I'm like, that's you guys consider me a hero for speaking my but like I just got shunned for speaking my opinion. You guys consider me a hero for speaking my opinion, and I'm like, I didn't realize, and I guess it was just me being biased, how much the collective is hated. Like
Yeah, I
every
didn't know either.
like it is insane, and it's like there's no for me, like, there's no running from it because it's one of those where, like, all the messages are still there, like, I have nothing to lie
Oh,
about,
oh yeah,
like,
they sure
and
are.
like, everything is still 100% still there, like, and that's the terrible part of, like, and I remember, like, when they added Gawky to that chat by accident, and then they removed him, and we're telling him, like, well, he can still see the messages. So, like, Glenn starts kicking us all out of the group, hoping that's going to help. Nope, that log's still there.
Yep.
Like, that's how it is. Like, you can remove anybody, but that chat history stays there.
Hell yeah.
And and that's the thing. And I'm like, so I forever have that, but I don't have like there's nothing that I've done. I've never scammed anybody. I've never, said anything away from anybody that I never said directly to them. I told them the exact same way, like whether I hopped in their flash to tell them that they sucked or, I messaged them directly, like, and, one of the things that was said to me the other night was, oh, you walking around with your chest out like you always did. And I guess for me, I did to an extent, and it was never like it was taken as cocky, but it was never cocky. It was always well, I walk with my chest out because I've always been very honest. Nobody can ever say, man, Yoshi said this. Well, no, yeah, Yoshi did say it. Like that was the thing. And that was, where you and I got along. You were the same way, because for me, at the end of the day, like, you're gonna like me, you're not gonna like me, you're gonna say this about me, and should I have got in the group that night out of anger and started kicking other admins? Probably not. That wasn't that wasn't my best, but it it started up something where I was like, and the amount of people that messaged me and was like, dude, I heard you kicked. I said I did. They said that is hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, like it is funny. I won't deny that it
It's
wasn't funny.
hilarious.
Yeah,
I wish
like,
I
but
would have
I'm
thought of that.
yeah, and I'm just like the only regret I have is that I did it on the spot out of anger. When really, if I had planned it out, I should have waited till like 3 a.m. when everybody was asleep and booted them in. That's what I should have done.
I know,
But
right?
and then they
That would
would
have
have
been
woke up,
dope.
and I just would have been the solo admin of the group,
Just
and
change the name, fucking
yeah, changed the whole name, and that's where
the
one of the
erective.
an admin from a fellow group told me 2 days ago. Well, he was like, well, who's the group creator? And I said, well, the group owner last I knew was Glenn. Now, whether Glenn passed it on, whether you can pass it on, I don't 100% know. And this admin told me, he said, "Man, Glenn's a better man than me because the way I would have nuked that group so quick,
Yeah,
like, and that's the thing, like, I would have too, like, I would have just deleted the group, and what got me the most, and I also put this in that last message to Glenn because Glenn sit here after all that, left the group, everything, turned around, blocked me, still defending the group that shunned you. You brought all these people in and they sent you packing. And you just cried about it. You curled up into a ball and they beat the crap out of you and you did nothing about it. Like, and to me, like I'd say, I had messaged you this exact word the other day, and I have no problem saying it again. Cowards.
yeah.
Like,
Some of them,
I just yeah, some
some
of
of
them,
them.
not all of
Yeah,
them, and that's the
yeah,
thing.
for
Not all.
sure.
There's still like, you
Yeah,
know, like Jordan, Carl, or I
but
don't know where me and Carl hadn't heard from, but like Jordan, even Steven, Steven needs to stay away from Vegas.
dude,
He has a lot of fun in Vegas now, but yeah, and
he
that's my big thing. Yeah, it's not all of them.
he popped up
It's
on one of
just
my reels the other day. I've been getting. I was telling Rich, me and Rich and John have had a group text, not a Facebook, like, a group text
yeah,
for a while now, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm getting a lot of like damn near death threats in my DMs." They're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, some of these reels that I've done, like the scalping, like these motherfucking Pokemon people are taking this like for real. Like they're trying to find me, bro." And they're like,
right,
"What?" And I'm
yeah,
like, "Dude, like, no, I think like somebody's gonna pull up." And I'm like, but anyways, like I'm getting like, and I play into it because it's fun to me. So like,
right,
I
yeah,
there was one I had about we still grade with Panini because we're like the battered wife. And boy, some people don't like that comment. And
yeah,
I don't care. It's funny to me. That's funny. I don't care if it's not funny to you. I think it's funny. If you don't like it, don't watch, Like, but dude,
yeah,
but so out of nowhere, somebody's just hating on me, and here comes Bennett, dude, like just talking shit to him. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Good to
yeah,
see
like
you, man.
yeah, like and Bennett, he's cool as shit. One of the guys, he's probably the most quiet in that room, and he's by far one of my favorite people is Eli. And Eli
Yeah.
is just he's a lot like us, directly to the point, no bullshit, just
I don't know that I
he
had more than 3 sentences with Eli,
yeah, I was
but
yeah, he doesn't talk very much. Like he gets straight to the point and like even Will, I never had any issues with Will. I snapped the other night on him when he messaged me because he did remove me from the chat when I didn't feel like I was in the wrong. Like I spoke my opinion and
mhm,
ended that message with, genuinely wishing everybody the best and telling them I love them. And I still get, shunned for it. And I'm like, well, like there goes that. But, there's still like guys in there that I have no problem with, Craig Lee was always super respectful. I always considered him, a buddy. I remember, I reached out to him one day when Carl's dad was having those issues, and I had messaged Craig Lee, and I told him, I said, hey, we're doing this for Carl. Carl had already flown out, and like Craig is Carl's boss, and I told him, I said, we're doing this for Carl tomorrow. And like Craig sent me a bundle of stuff and he was like, flash all this for him. I'm like, damn,
yeah.
like, okay. Like, and like there's Chris, like me and Chris, we had our issue. I think you may have been in the group when all that happened with me and him.
I don't remember.
Basically it was time for admin mod poll
Yep,
and
I remember.
yeah, he basically cheated the votes and PM'd people to vote for his card,
Yeah.
and that caused a huge uproar. And
That was right when I came in.
yeah, and I'm like this is nuts. And like I called them for it, which I remember like I had a few of them like didn't want me to call them out on it. And I was super respectful about it. And like I even told him like, don't change it, like flash your card. Like I want you to and it didn't do as great as he wanted it to. And that's the whole thing. Like you had your friends vote, so you got false votes, you can't get false claims.
No, right, right.
Yeah, so, like, that's you just gotta take the lick, and then
And yeah, it ain't a $300 card we're talking about where that can get, absorbed
exactly.
by just general fucking degeneracy.
Right, yeah, and
Yep.
then, like, the following month, I think it was the same month, they had abandoned the next flash, and they gave me a poll card for mine, and, it took off, it blew up, it did, more than I wanted it to, and I was like, "Okay, cool, like, this is it," and, I always try to like, I would get in the group, and I would do, like, random stuff, the stuff that, like, nobody else did, not and that's why I say, like, when me, Rich, and Carl had talked that day, and we were looking for another admin, you were the first one that came to our mind. And for me, it was the idea of like, I remember when I first joined the group, I loved the group so much. Even at 600 members, I spent all day in there just talking to people in the comments, like
Mhm.
just living. And they bring me onto the team, and I saw you were the same way. And then I, start doing these duck races, the infamous duck races, where
Ah, I miss those.
I'm giving away money out of my own account, not out of the group fund that we don't know what
Yep.
happened to.
Yeah.
Out of my own pocket, I'm paying these people, which like granted, like I love to do it. Like I've had the time of my life doing that for people. I've always tried to be a giving person, and I'm doing all this, but none of them were doing it. And then I see, like I reached out to you because I had seen a few of your cards, and then you made me a few cards of my son, my daughter, which are still on
Oh,
my display in there. Like those are my favorite cards still, especially the gold
no
vinyl
doubt.
one of my baby in the
That's probably the
Bengals
best
gear.
card I've ever made.
Yeah, that is still
That
by far my favorite card. That sits right on top of my shelf.
that one's just
And
nasty.
and that
Oh,
was
that's so
one of
good.
them where like right after all that happened, I think right after you had made that card, a few weeks had passed, and that's when we all had the conversation about you feeling down and used. And I'm like, well, damn, I hope he doesn't think like, 'cause, like I'm fine with paying for these cards. Like
Oh,
that's
no.
yeah. And then like I messaged you, and it was the complete opposite. And
Yeah, no.
I knew without us even saying at the time exactly what you were feeling because
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was the same that the rest of us were. Like we had all been, in a sense, manipulated and played by Glenn, and it was this, well, I'm gonna bring, this is Yoshi's strong suit. Like everybody had a strong suit. Like, like
Mhm.
Yoshi's strong suit is the list, Um RC's, strong suit is getting our name out there. Like he's got
Mhm.
YouTube, he's got all these, Pat's strong suit is, like he's got the entire morning crew. He's there when people wake up at
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the morning, like Pat's there to add, $10, $15 to the group fund off a line. Like everybody had their strong suit.
Yeah,
But
did you know that, when Pat played football in high school, Jesus was his backup?
I didn't, I heard that when
That's
he
what I mean, he's
played,
Pat knows everybody, man. You're
so
right,
it was before the leather helmets.
way before it, dude.
Boom.
No, but that's the thing though, everybody did have their little lane, like, like Dutton. Dutton was the wizard of relationships,
Yeah.
PMs, and all that, and I took a lot from that. Um, I see it too, and like, dude, dude, I hate sitting here and going like, I don't want you to be right, but like as I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, so Glenn's gone. I know Carl told me that him and Will have the Ammon Card Fund. I don't remember if he told me they have the Scam Fund or not.
Yeah.
Well, two questions. If they do, where is it at? Just out of curiosity, because hey, a bunch of guys did the math, right? We're curious, and I know a lot of stuff was given away. I mean, shit, there was giveaways as there should be. There was a lot of stuff. I mean, fucking Connor went to a Niners game. All kinds of shit happens, but that was over a long time.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
every fucking day we're flashing. Um, and if they don't have it, who does? And what happens if something happens? How the fuck do they get a hold of it? And I don't know.
Exactly.
And I'm not. And another thing, like, yes, very frustrated at Will and Carl, because they didn't say nothing. But hey, man, that's kind of their. I don't want to say their livelihood, but that, like, both of them, that there's it's something that is something that they love way more than
Yeah.
I do. And um self-preservation to a degree, like again, I'm not trying to defend him. What I'm saying is like, all right, I guess I see, it's fine. It is what it is, but I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
But
And
fuck
that's
it.
the big thing, because it's that same thing. Like, I have my, personal frustrations with a few of them since the other night, but it's the exact same thing you just said, like word for word. Like, they're tied to the love of that group. They're tied to the everyday routine,
For
and I'm
now.
not mad at them for it, because hell, I was that same way when I first got in there. Like, there was nothing I wouldn't do to defend the group.
Yeah.
And over time, there was multiple occasions where I got burned out, and I would take a break, and I would talk to Carl and Rich, and I would tell them, like, man, like, I'm done, like, I'm so burned out with this hobby, and then I'd find a way to get back in. And then this one night I was just like, you know what, like, I'm done. But over the time while I was away, I would still like lurk the chat, and
Hmm.
I would see like the business chat every night, $16 sent to group fund, $12 sent to group fund. Like, you're talking 20, 30, $40 a night to group fund every single night.
Hmm.
And after a while, I start thinking, like, where's this going? Now, granted, as you said, Carl told me the same thing, that Glenn had sent him the funds for the cards or whatever. But and that, like, I believe Carl in that extent. I do believe Glenn
Hmm.
sent him the money. Did he send you everything though? Like, I can send you $200 and be like, yep, that's all that was in there, and have another 5 grand sitting in my,
Yeah.
like
How are we to
who's
know?
yeah, like,
I'm actually going back to look at uh yeah, just to see. No, he said admin fund. Um so
yeah,
I,
see,
I
it's
didn't I didn't ask any further. There's a higher profile admin, one of the one of the highest profile admin, one of them, in our little Facebook arena, text me yesterday. We're shooting the shit. He asked me what's going on. Um and I told him, and I hadn't even finished yet. And he's like, "You want me to start applying some pressure?" And I'm like, "Hold on, fuck yeah, dude, thank you, but
yeah.
let me finish there." And then so when we were done, and he's kind of said the same thing, like, "Are you sure?" No, but I
Right,
don't know what
yeah.
the number, what the, I think I know. I don't know, but fuck it. I lurked. I stepped away a little while ago, and I lurked. I don't know if I couldn't fully give it up. I know part of it was the fucking money, and it ain't a ton of money. It ain't, but I don't know. Maybe there was a part of me that was gonna fucking lose my shit if I didn't get it. Rich, nobody's hit
Right.
him up about it. John says he doesn't want it because he didn't do nothing but bullshit. He was in there with all of us. Everybody that was in there, in my opinion, is entitled to it. I don't give a fuck what they say.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause that goes right back to, what we said, like, and that, and I think that's a big issue on exactly what happened with me the other night, and everybody getting hostile. Not everybody, a couple getting hostile toward me, because this everything that happened in another chat that they're not in. That's the
exactly.
problem. There's so many chats that people aren't in. And I hope that they never think, oh, like, I'm in all the chats, you're not. None of us
Nope.
are ever in all the chats. Like, even to this
100%.
day, like, I was just told, like 3 days ago, there was a chat with 4 guys in it from the collective admin team. Two of them left, but I was never in that chat. There's like two admin chats. There's one with
There's
all the admins, and then there
there's
was
one
one with just a
there's one that
handful.
I
Like,
was in where if anybody wants to know where the screenshots will come from of everybody wondering what was going on. And again, let me be very clear that I'm not saying, nobody said Glenn is stealing. That's not what was
yeah,
ever said. It was
yeah,
all like, I don't know either. I'm not sure. I don't know what his accounting is doing. I don't know why he's borrowing from the scam fund and not paying it back right away. That was the questions.
yeah,
But it was me, Rich, who's left the room, John, Carl, and Will. No Glenn, no you. Know anybody else?
Right.
You're right. How many fucking more are there? There's 100. Because guess who else had one? Me, Josh, Lee, um, fucking Jake Cox, all the Q guys.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
because them dudes fucking were like frustrated with every time we're working on the queue, and then here comes Glenn or somebody who fucking is absent as fuck, and then shows up and does some shit, and we're like, dude, we're not doing that anymore. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So we made our own,
Right.
So they're not always nefarious, but they can be, because guess what we did? We talked shit about Glenn in there. We
Yeah.
talked shit about Onar, dude, like, because they were so frustrated with Onar. I thought it was the funniest shit in the world, but they're like, dude, this motherfucker's so hardcore with, I'm like, that's his job.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Like,
oh, he's so weird. I'm like, he's a robot. Like,
yeah.
dude, it's Onar. It's fucking, dude, he's awesome. Relax. Fucking relax, but like, so yeah, there's going to be some shit talking. So I fucking know I'm not in some where they're like, dude, this dude's so corny, fucking with his stupid videos and the stupid ears, I'm sure. It's fine.
Right, yeah.
Fucking
And that's
care.
the whole thing. Like I know like when I see all these other chats and hear about these chats, like I know there's like other chats on the side where they're like, same thing you said, whereas, the talk is, Yoshi, oh, Yoshi's,
Mm-hmm.
Yoshi's got an attitude. Yoshi says this, he thinks he can do whatever. Like and it's but yet turn around and they'll be the same one liking your post or dropping $5 on your flash,
Yep. Yep.
like I want you to like if you're gonna hate me wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like don't
Yeah.
don't half-ass, and I use the word hate loosely because I don't think any of them hate me. I don't
Right.
think, but it's the idea of like give me your 100% self, because I'm giving you 100% of me, and I may not be the ideal guy. Like I may jump the gun, like I said, like deleting admins the other night. Like I may jump the gun out of anger and
Fucking
frustration,
awesome.
but
Awesome.
but
So
it's
awesome,
like
dude.
it's like sitting here like looking back to last year, and I had this talk with two of the other admins after everything happened. Looking back to last year, and I had to talk with you as well. And watching how much, myself, you, Rich, Carl gave to the group every single day. I mean, I'm running mega lines for people to the point where I was burnt out of them. I'm running, at
Right.
one point I was running 2 and 3 flashes a week. I picked up being a runner because we needed more runners. Like I'm doing all of this, and at the same time, like I was coaching T-ball, so my schedule was limited. I was working 40 hours a week, and I'm still fitting all this in. So there was like no life outside of it. It was
Yeah.
nothing but sports. And I look back, like I did all this last year, and I stepped down for 4 months. And in that night, like when I chose to step away, I remember, telling them, like, if you need to remove me as admin, like, go ahead. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not coming back. Like, I need to figure out my reality. I need to focus on work. I got a promotion the month before, and I need to get all this going. And everybody was all for it. I was getting congratulations in the chat and everything, but within 72 hours, it was like I never existed. And I'm like, damn, like, and like in the moment, looking back then, like it did bother me. Like it did kind of hurt because it's like
Mm-hmm.
18 months, like every day with you guys. Like these are who I thought were, my brothers. Like I'm
Yeah.
here with you guys every day. And then, I disappear to focus on reality, and then they're all gone. And then like I stayed in touch with a few, and it's been one of those where like, even my friends back home in Louisiana, like I'm back out in New Mexico now, but I have friends down there that I've, known for 15, 20 years. And we may go weeks without talking. There was a friend I just saw on this last trip, and I hadn't talked to him at all. I saw him at a wedding in March down there, and we didn't talk for 2.5 months, and we picked up right where we left off. Like,
Mhm.
and I feel like me and you, same way. Like, we'll
Mhm.
talk and we won't talk for like 2 weeks, and then we pick up right where, because we're all adults. Like, we all
Yeah.
have our own lives,
Fuck yeah.
and and it's one of those where it's like, but if I'm gone for a couple days and I'm just like forgotten about, like, like after 4 months, there's a few of y'all that hadn't hit me up once. Like, that's a problem.
Mhm.
And of course, they're gonna lean on the, oh well, the phone works both ways, and it does. But
Yeah.
it's for me, it's like I was still in the group. I was still watching like every day. I was watching. I watched John's Flash fall apart recently.
Mhm.
And same thing I told Carl, and inspired a lot of what I said that night was, did the Flash tank? Yeah, it did. Could it have been prevented? Maybe. Like, sometimes, and I love John, so I'm not talking crap about John, but it's one of
Mhm.
those where it's like, could it have been prevented? Maybe. Could it, maybe not. Like, you never know because that's the point of a Flash. We never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's as soon as the chat ends and it's under, John's upset, rightfully. But instead of anybody saying, "Oh, damn, like we messed up, I didn't realize," because that was the thing, they didn't realize what it comped at. So instead of, the whole group said, it could have said, "Damn, like we screwed the pooch on this one, like, that's on us." No, instead it's this, you did it, you did it, you did it. Like,
Mhm.
everybody's
So,
blaming.
dude, wait a
Like,
minute though. Dude, when I came into you guys and when I came into the collective, um,
oh,
fucking the way I learned it from the way we were rolling, first of all, lines in the room, they were just getting going. They were
yep,
just getting going. But flashes were fucking nice, right? Flashes were
yeah,
doing pretty good. And I remember you guys, I mean, we're 15 minutes in, we're 30 minutes in. I already know from our chat what that card, I would have already looked, but I know what the card comped at because it's in the fucking chat. And it ain't just for admins or mods, it was for everybody running. We were on it and we fucking all spent way more than we should to make sure. And it trips me out because John's been around forever. I would have said, can we use some admin fun? That's me, just for John. Maybe that's not the right answer, but like, cause I was so fucking pissed, hot ass Ascended Heroes late night flash. Everybody's trying to find one of these fucking boxes. I run it and fucking, I'm literally arguing with Glenn as it's going on. I fucking tag him, nothing. That's the third flash in a row. I'm getting nothing. I'm like, why the fuck am, am I not taking profit? And I'm putting it back in the fucking room. And I know why, because this is the game we play, but I'm not doing it anymore for you guys. It just pissed me off. And I'm going to talk about John. I don't mean to put his business out there, but you know, some dudes take stuff different. Me and him we're very close, but we're very different. Like the way he sees and hears things is very different than me. I'm very can be solitary easily. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like I don't need to
right,
talk to people. He's more of a social guy, especially people he's built relationships with.
right,
I went to fucking 19 schools before I graduated high school. I can fucking not talk to you tomorrow and I'll live.
right,
Anybody.
yeah,
My dad asked me how I know. It's fine.
right, yeah.
Um, but John's the other way. So like something happens in his family and nobody fucking asks how he's doing. It hurts him and he's still active in there. And John, I'm sorry, I don't mean to put your business out there. That kind of shit bothers me because these fucking guys say the word brother all the time when unless brothers code for $20, I don't know
Yeah,
what the fuck they're talking about, and that's what fucking bugs me about this shit. That's
and
the part that
that's
bothers me.
with John, and exact same, because I had told one of the guys the other day, like, and I had even messaged John. I had messaged John yesterday, and me and him had a talk about our kids and everything. And I explained to him, like, none of this is directed toward you. None of what I've said is directed toward you. And I was clear on that. But I've also been vocal. And the thing with John is, and you kind of just summed it up right there, is like, and I love John. John has always been 100 with me. I've always been 100 with him. He has a very sensitive side.
Mhm,
and he takes stuff to heart way too
mhm.
much, and it's not a bad thing at all.
No.
But in this hobby, like, they will walk all over you. As
Yeah, man.
soon as you let your guard down, they will walk all over you, and John is too good of a dude to let that happen.
Right.
But he, like, he does everything in the best interest of that group, but the group isn't doing what's in best interest of him.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
that's the issue.
Yeah, and the same with Rich, Rich lives down the fucking street from me. Rich is like, to me, I don't wanna say the group, there's a few of you guys that are on Mount fucking Collective more, but, like, Rich is kinda that dude in my eye. It's just in my eyes, and that's
Yeah.
no offense to anybody else, but it's fucking
No,
Rich,
Rich
man,
is Rich
like,
is definitely the George Washington on the Mount Rushmore.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, and, like,
he's
and for to see him go through that, dude, and, like, I talked to Andrew. He will just straight up call me out. I answer hello, and he's like, it goes both ways, right? That's the first thing he says, and he's right. Um, but I'll answer when he calls, and I love it because I'm fucking just super busy. But that's not an excuse. Um, but same with him. I think he's more like me, like fuck it, whatever. I don't need it. I'm a
right.
busy man. And I bet you're the same way. But like, if I don't see like your story, if I don't see like a Padres uniform, if I don't see something like a lot, because that's the shit I look at. Like I look at that stuff and
Yeah,
I'm checking to see, and then that makes me think, all right, what's going on with everybody? And it's not everybody. Like James Ligenfelter, I'm the worst kind of friend to him. He's over in the exchange. Known him for a while from my room. I'd say every 2 or 3 weeks minimum. He's a mod over there. He'll ask me. It's usually on a Saturday or Sunday. He'll hit me up, and I'm like, "Ah, I suck, dude. I suck so bad." But like
it's
those,
funny that you mention him though, because I don't know anybody else that knows him. One of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet.
oh, he's the
That
best.
me and him talk every single huge wrestling
You really?
fan. Yeah, he's a huge
Yes.
wrestling fan. We actually have a chat going right now.
Good.
Well,
He's a
we
good dude,
talk
man.
every single day.
That's
Super good
fucking
dude.
great. That's great.
Super good dude.
He is. And like, I don't know. So that's why when I hear this blah blah, I'm busy. I don't have enough time in the day. I work so much. Like, motherfucker, I text you guys while I'm working a house fire. You son of a bitch. I came down
Right.
to the rig. I grabbed the water. I checked my phone. I fucking said, you guys suck. And then, just fucking around. And then I
Right.
went back and fucking got it in. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. And I'm not,
That
I'm
just
just,
all it takes is a little bit, like, and that's where, like, the Rich he didn't deserve the outcome that he got.
no, he
He
got,
was
yeah,
one, like, everything like he did for the group last year while his wife battled cancer.
man, no shit.
Like, this dude is taking her all over for these treatments, and he's still blood, sweat, and tears in the group.
Yeah.
And, then you look at, like, I remember when you had your shoulder surgery, and that was the same thing. Like, we were on our first bridge, and I was super busy, but I still found a day. I found 2
Yeah.
minutes to message you and be like, "Hey, like, how's everything going with your
Right.
shoulder?"
That's
All
fucking,
it takes is, you can send me one message, and then I may not hear from you for 2 weeks, but let me know you remember me.
yeah, fuck yeah, man. For sure.
Like
For sure.
like
And even more like about Rich, that he's come over because he's local, and especially
yeah.
when I'm just sitting there on ice, can't do a fucking thing. Dude's like, "Hey, you need me to bring you some chew?" Or I know you can't drive, and I know everybody's gone. You're in the home alone. You're home alone,
Right.
and dude brings me over. He goes to Target, gets some Dragon Ball cards, gets me a fucking Luffy fucking uh what are those things called? Funko Pop. Like,
Oh,
and
shit. Okay.
here we go, and I'm ripping at the house because, like, my wife's like, I am not buying you any more cards. Like, fuck off.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
just joking. That's the kind of dude he is, and if anybody's listening right now and you haven't talked to Rich for a while, you're a fucker if you don't take this moment and just send him a text, like seriously, or anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big problem with it because guys get trapped in this money thing. We can call it the hamster. We can call it whatever the fuck you want. Take a second, step out of it, fucking say what's up, and remember we're fucking humans. They might need that. Somebody. might be getting ready to fucking go on scammers, and you might have
Right,
saved
yeah.
them because they're on tilt. I don't know, probably not, but I'm just saying, like, don't be
And
a dick.
it's you gotta like, I gotta watch the way I word it because I know how, like, it'll once it goes up, it'll but there was a guy, before I joined the collective, um, I was involved in one other group, and it wasn't a flash or line group. It was just a group of guys that would go out and buy like 6 blasters at Walmart, and then they would break that night, and all of us would throw some money in and pick teams. Like just a group of guys,
Yeah.
and couple of them were like I don't know if you're familiar with the names, but like Chris Carlton, uh, Alan Liebens, Sean Conway,
I don't know.
but there was one in particular, his name's, Matt Myers, and he was like the head honcho of the whole thing, and Chris Carlton is who brought me in, and we would sit there Facebook Messenger every night, and we'd open these boxes and packs, and we were cool, and I remember one day, they were, like, randomizing the teams, and I ended up with, like we had 3 teams each because there was only a couple of us, so I had, like, Bengals, Broncos, and Bills or something random, and I was like, "Okay." Well, then one of the guys wasn't in there, so we were like, "Oh, well, we gotta rerun it." I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, it's kinda okay." So they reran it, and then I ended up with, like, the Commanders, Vikings, and somebody else. I'm like, "Okay, Jaden Daniels rookie, cool." And then I forget where I was at that night. I think I was at a basketball game, and I get done, and I come out and I open my phone and see the flash or the break had ran, and I ended up with like the Bucks, Steelers, and I'm like, what? I'm like, and I hadn't paid yet, and I'm like, what happened? And they were like, oh, well, he wasn't in here, and then he got in here, but this one wasn't in here, and I'm like, okay, this is sketchy. This
Yeah.
is, and I told him I was like, I'm not paying for this. So it,
Oh
it
shit.
led to this whole like ordeal, and they were threatening to put me on scammers. I was threatening to put them on scammers. Became a whole ordeal. Me and Matt Myers, we did not talk to each other, had nothing for each other, and all this. And then I joined the collective about a year and a half passes. He joins the collective, and we would bypass each other. We'd see each other in card pub, and he remembered me. I remembered him. And then one day, out of nowhere, he sends me a message, and he's like, "Man, like, how you been?" And we catch up and we talk, and you don't catch the hints in the moment. And we're sitting there, we're talking, and kind of reminiscing on how crazy that night was, and he's showing me all the new cards he got. And then, like, we stopped talking, I guess, about midnight. And then 2 days later, the day after the next, I hop in the card pub and I see the RIP post. And
Oh shit.
I'm like, what? So I go to his page, and his wife's posted, his daughter posted, and just mental health just
I
won the
remember too.
battle. And that goes, right back to what you say. Like, I may come off as a jerk to a lot of people, but I'm really not. Like, I can be the nicest person in the world just for that reason. Like, I go to Walmart and I see an 80-year-old man pushing a basket wearing a veteran hat. Do I know him? No, but catch me on a good day, like, I'll go up, shake his hand, thank you for your service. Like, and then you
Oh
be
yeah.
like, that just made his week.
Yeah.
Like, you never like, I saw a post today talking about some, the slow car in the fast lane that you're riding, their bumper is an old man on the way to get medicine for his dying wife. Like, you never know what the next
Yeah.
person is going through. And
Man,
so
no
it's
shit.
like, you can do so much with just a text. I mean, you can just say, hi. You could send me the wave emoji.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
you could brighten a person's whole day with that.
Yeah. Dude, just listen, the easy way, what I like to do is I'll have some fucked up pictures or memes. I have no intention of saying any more, but I want to send you that butthole picture. That's it.
Hey, yeah, that's
It's
see, that's
like the one you posted, it's the same
yeah,
idea,
see,
dude.
yeah. like I
So
sit here, and it's funny because when that text chat first came in, I was like, "Oh God, here we go," and I couldn't see all the names, and then I clicked on it, and for some reason, the first time I read it through and through, I thought it was you that started it, and that you sent, and then I read back and I saw it was Rich, and I'm like, okay, like, and I completely felt like everything he said was 100% genuine. Like,
Mhm.
that was exactly how he felt in that moment, because there's been times where, we've given so much, and you pretty much get thrown to the side of the road, and it begins to take a toll on you. It breaks
Yeah.
you down, and you're like, well, like, did I do this right? Like, what did I do for this to happen? Like, and that's where it's not ideal, because that's where, like, you end up like me, and I say it in the sense of, oh, like, I can't be hurt, you can't bother me, like, and like, honestly, like, I like it when I'm arguing with people, but in my own reality, like, it sucks, like, because I don't know how to express love to, like, women, and I don't, like, I just see them as like another woman, like, and I don't know how to, I see people crying, and I'm like, "Ooh, get away from me."
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
yeah, like, I don't know how to express, so it works, like, when you're mad, but, like, when you want to genuinely be there for someone, like, it sucks, because you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to handle it,
I
and
if you haven't seen yet, I'm sure you have a million times because your daughter, but it's gonna get even more so as she gets older. Good luck with that type of how you process shit, because 'cause I'm similar to,
yeah,
to a degree, and, they don't operate like that.
yeah, yeah,
It's different, and it's and the messed up part, my daughter is so much like me. It's
right, yeah,
awful, and Ivan, believe it or not, is very much like his mom. The normal.
right,
And,
yeah, exactly, yeah,
my daughter's a nut, dude,
right, yeah,
as far as, like, she can be real hard, and it's just
right.
like, but they process it different, so we gotta figure out a better way, because
'Cause yeah, and I think a lot of that is the old saying, like, "Daddy's girls and mama's boys,"
yeah,
and because that's how, like, my son he'll be 10 in December, and he is the biggest mama's boy, like, he's and then I have my daughter who's 4, and she is, very similar to me, and I have her parent teacher conferences and all this stuff. And I went not too long ago, and I asked her, asked her teachers, like, how is she doing? How's everything? And they said she's good. She shares really well. She's really respectful. Um, they said the only issue that they had, which wasn't an issue, but they said that she does not like affection whatsoever. And my daughter, like, she's always been there. Like, if I ask her for a hug, she'll scream and run away.
it's
Like, she
crazy.
does she does not like affection. Like, that's just not, if she's sick, a completely different story.
Yeah,
She's the girly girl. Like, that's how she is. And I hope that changes in time, because,
it
like,
will.
as men, like, we learn, like, and I told a woman not too long ago the whole topic, and I was talking to um one of the he's actually still a collective admin, and I was talking to him the other day, and we were talking about our past issues, our early 20s, because I'm 34 now, and we were talking about, life before kids and our past issues, and me, like, I'm not a super religious person, but I'm also religious at the same time. And I told him, like, I had my battles when I was, 19, 20, 21, trying different stuff, popping different stuff, like, and he had the same issues. And I told him, like, I was trying to, because as a guy, and women, like, if there's any women that watch this, I'm not saying that they don't have it hard, but it becomes difficult as a guy, because you're pretty much taught, like, keep it
Yep,
in. Like, just
yep.
keep it in. Like, don't let them see you weak. And then I had my ex, and that may have been the breaking point. There was my ex. I had told her one day, like, this is, I don't know, 7, 8 years back. And I was dealing with a lot of issues. My brother had passed away, and I kind of just, like, blocked myself out and didn't want anything to do with anybody. So, of course, like, I got back on all the things I wasn't supposed to, and started, like, flushing everything that I had worked for away. But then, like, that's when the religion kicked in, and I started, finding my faith again. And I, uh, I went to my ex at the time. I had told her exactly what I what I was dealing with and what I had gone through, and I went to her as a man and said, "I need you to help me get through this." And I kid you not, within a week, everybody knew. Everybody knew. And and I think that was my big thing, and I had told her, like, we stayed together another year or so, and she told me, she said, "You don't, open up to me anymore." And I said, "A lot of men don't open up because when we do, it becomes the town gossip."
Mhm.
I said, "And I said, "That's the issue." I said, "So we just, keep it in, like, and there's guys like me, I'm a big wrestling guy. I don't know if you watch wrestling, but
Mhm.
back in the day, about 20 years ago, there was a wrestler named Chris Benoit.
Oh, I did then, yeah.
And all
Oh,
that
yeah.
happened with him
Yep.
and his family, and it's like, what he did was very monstrous, but also, like, that was life taking its toll. And it's you just bottle stuff up, even one, and a lot of people, I'll go into sports, a lot of people may disagree. I kind of had a bad, a soft spot for the dude, but Aaron Hernandez,
Yeah.
like he did some crazy stuff, but it goes back to his childhood, and like I've watched like all his documentaries, like, and all the stuff like his dad put him and his brother through, and it's like, like mentally, like he was messed up.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, like, I'm never gonna make excuses for anybody. I'm never gonna make excuses for myself. Like, I learned a lot. My kids, I will say my kids definitely like saved me, completely changed my
Man.
son a lot. But as I'm sure you know, although I think your daughter's older than your son, like having a daughter, like I completely, it changes your entire outlook on life.
Man. Yeah.
And it's like for me now, and that's where I am with her. And like I post these pictures of her all the time and playing t-ball, and I see you writing the reactions every time, and I know you see that Padres uniform, so you're loving it. You
Yeah, dude, I am, man. Well, that's what when I first saw her wearing it, because I had just gotten Ivan and myself Tatis jerseys, because that's where I'm from originally. So, we watched the Tribe and we watched Padres, and we can because it's AL and NL. So fuck off if
right,
anybody's got something to say. Um,
exactly, yeah, hey,
but yeah, I fucking like I'll go to card shows. I'll have like a throwback Gwen or Benito Santiago, whoever, Fred McGriff, and like old heads love that shit. They're like, oh,
yeah,
that's a baseball player right there. But like I was wearing a Carlos Baerga the other day, and I always try to find ones that say Indians on it. And then I
hmm,
try to go somewhere that's real. They're going to get mad about it because I find that shit funny. So, guys, when I'm posting things, this is what happens. So if you get
yeah,
roped in, that's on you because I am rage bait, like
yeah,
Jesus Christ. Um, yeah, dude, I love it, and I love like that picture of your daughter with the fireworks.
yes,
Uh, greatest picture in the world. Like, because that reminds it's an awesome picture, and I love art and all that. But like, it reminds me of my daughter, and like, dude, 100% changed my life. On top of that, for me, I left to go to Afghanistan and came back, and she was a different kid. Like, I
right,
missed so
yeah,
much. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like,
right, yeah,
um, it's wild, man. And she was a girl, and I was a terrible young man, awful.
right,
And like, of course, she's pretty because fucking God hates me. So like, like
right, yeah,
I'm getting what I deserve. But like, yeah. So I agree with you, man. I don't want to say guys got it harder is different, and
yeah,
I would say it's harder because I look at it through that lens. But I'm
yeah.
not gonna
And
not
and that's
argue.
and tha and that's my thing. It's like I don't, like I said a moment ago, I don't think, like that we have it harder. I think, both sides, gender wise have it hard. We just have very different battles. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we both, have, battles that we deal with every day, but in completely different sense.
the whole for sure.
And that's the whole thing of it. And you just, but I've always like I have friends that are, the complete opposite of me, and I remember I told Connor one day, because me and Connor are, he's super cool, and I scroll Facebook and I see him sharing all his
Mhm,
liberal posts, and I'm like,
mhm.
oh, here we go. And me, like I'm more Republican. And but I've also like I have friends that are Democrats, and I told, Connor the same thing. Like I remember like him and a dude had got into it in his messenger one day. And I commented and I kind of bashed the Republican. And I'm like, like that's what never got me. Like, never once will you see me argue with somebody over what side they're on, what religion they are, if they're any religion, like,
Right.
whether they're straight, bi, whatever. Like I said earlier, we each get one time around the sun. Like, you do
Yeah,
what you want.
yeah.
Like, you show me respect, I'm gonna show you respect. Like, and that's it. And like Connor he's always shown me respect, a lot of there. Look, there he is. There he is.
He's going to bed?
The future
Oh,
of LSU.
he can't hear, he said the future of LSU. Yeah, are you going to bed? Alright, good night, pal. Love you. Alright.
There he is.
He likes to make appearances.
But
I Yeah, no,
that's
you're right. Like, when I interviewed Will, and that was after, the Charlie Kirk thing, I
mm,
remember, like, cats were like, "Man, you," 'cause I was already planning on doing it, and they're like, "You can't do that." And I'm like, yes, I can."
yeah.
Um, and we talked about that for a while before and during the interview and stuff, and, like, um, yeah, I've said completely awful shit, and, like, that was bad, right? I've said really bad things too, and I definitely shouldn't have said it, but they're all different than me, but I love their posts because they're hilarious, and I love watching dudes argue like it
Yeah.
fucking matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Like,
like Charlie Kirk was one. Like I remembered that day so well because I was in a little town named Henrietta, Texas. I was on my way to visit my family in Louisiana. I was driving there and I had stopped at this place called the Pecan Shed. That's some of the best fudge you'll ever get out of Texas. And it's all over my phone, the stuff with Charlie Kirk. And obviously I
mhm.
knew the names because same thing. I used to sit there, watch his debates with people,
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like, and to this day, like there will be mixed opinions on that, like, and me, like I watched him, I liked him, I know a lot of people didn't like him, and like I respect that. But, for me, like, I think for me, it's because, like, at the end of the day, like, I didn't see a government agent. I didn't see a suit. I saw his wife and kids saying
Yeah,
goodbye to their dad and husband. That's what I saw. Like,
yeah.
and that's the part that gets me. It's never the political side of it. Like, at the end of the day, like, this is a dad, a husband, a brother,
Yup,
son, whatever.
yup. That's the shit that, and fortunately, I say that with a grain of salt. What I do for a living, that's my everyday, especially working in a very urban, violent city. And
Well, you're in Cleveland?
just south of it in this little shithole called Akron, where LeBron James is from, we got nothing but heron and pistols. Um,
Ooh,
it's just like everywhere else, man. Everything in the
right,
Rust
yeah,
Belt is a shithole now. All the cities, it's beyond violent per capita, which makes no sense. Like, I sit here and I'm like, if it's like it here, and if it's like that in, like, some smaller town in North Carolina, and some smaller town, where you wouldn't think in Colorado or something, like, what's Chicago got to
right,
be like? What's New Orleans got? And they're all fucked up. But so
right, yeah,
I get to see a lot of fucking foul shit all the time. But that keeps me, like, pretty level headed with that, and that's why I can. Yeah, I don't know. It's Facebook, but
right,
anyways,
yeah. But you're
anyways.
like you're like the new age Dan Rather.
Yeah, I'd rather not be.
You like to
Fucking
be it's funny, you crossed my mind last night. I've been trying to find something to watch on Netflix and it popped I was watching Michael Jackson The Verdict
Oh,
on
shit.
Netflix about all that stuff with the kids.
Yeah.
And in the first episode, there's only 3 episodes. In the first one, it goes to a skit that he had done with Dan Rather in like 2001 or 2002, and I'm like, "That's RC."
That's fucking
Look at
great, dude.
look RC, man. Dan Rather passing the torch.
That's fucking awesome. We're my wife and I were talking about watching that. We're already arguing over Michael Jackson. And
Yeah.
I don't know that either one of us believe either way. We just have to take the opposite position and fucking
Yeah,
argue.
exactly.
And it's mostly her because she's a woman. But
Right.
anything to
And
make me
Michael
unhappy.
Jackson is like one of the greatest like debates over because it's like the like
Yes.
I know a lot of people that are like, did he do it? I know a lot of people that are like, oh, he did it.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm kind of in between, like, can I prove he did it? No. Do I feel like he did it? Kinda. But, like I also like there's not a song of his that I don't listen to.
It's wild,
Like,
right? It's
yeah, like I'm like, like maybe like dude was weird,
it's
but you
think about
can't
it.
deny the talent that he had.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Like,
it, it I don't know, like if Epstein had a bunch of hit songs, would we be saying the same thing? I don't know.
yeah,
See,
yes,
this is how I get in trouble, and Fanatics kicks me off and shit like that
right, yeah.
because I
See,
see stuff like that. But like, so I will go on record going, you don't have little kids spend the night at your house in your fucking Never Never Land.
exactly,
I'm
yeah,
firm on that. My wife, on the other hand, goes no, and she makes this argument where I can't admit that it makes sense because then I'd be admitting that I'm wrong.
right,
But so it is the greatest debate, man. Like it's a trip, man. And who the fuck knows?
yeah,
I
because
didn't
it's
know
one
in
of those like, and
I didn't know in
the
Cleveland, Ariel Castro had fucking 3 or 4 chicks locked up in his house for years,
dude.
having babies in there and shit. So who knows what's going on? How fucked up do you
See,
think they
because
are?
in like the first episode, like it was the one of the interviews he had did, and that was the one. Like I remember that as a kid, I was like 12 years old, and it was one of the interviews. And they were asking him about like little boys like staying the night at his house, and man, he said yeah. And the reporter mentioned about how they sleep in the same bed as him,
Yeah,
and he was like justifying, well, it's not, sexual. Like, we share the bed and, I get them like warm milk and I like the fireplace. And I'm like, this sounds creepy though. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
this, like, cause
You
if,
can't change my
if
mind.
that's my kid over there, like, you're going to have to see me.
It won't be. Like no
Yeah.
way. Yeah, I
Like,
don't know, dude. Everything's a trip. The internet is fucking wild. If you haven't tried the internet yet, I suggest you guys try it because it's pretty fun. And fucking relax, man. Like
right.
it's fine. Like just take it for what it is. And it's hard because like I've been venturing on X or Twitter a lot lately, and I forgot why I didn't do that because that is a fucking cesspool of just
Yeah.
bad things and like it's worse than Instagram. Like my Instagram algorithm is like people would look at me and like go, "You need to see a priest because you're fucked up." On X, it's like, dude, this earth is terrible, and it's crazy how the algorithms. But on Facebook, like you said earlier, it was all cards. And now it's going back
Right.
to like sports stuff and just kind of normal. I was like, oh shit, I have friends on here. I
Right.
have
Yeah.
cousins on here. I have cousins on this platform. That is a
Yeah,
trip.
like I'm just finding out, like now, get out of cards. And like I saw a post the other day, like one of my good buddies that I grew up with, had a daughter, back in November. And I'm like, man, like
Yeah.
when was she even pregnant?
Right. You were too
Like,
you were too busy getting off work, not going to do something with your kids because you had to buy a card to fucking line or flash.
yep.
Fuck that.
And like that's the downside of it. And it's like Facebook, I still get on Facebook. People that like watch my Facebook or keep up any like they'll see like I got out of cards, like I dabble in like figurines now, which is an insane market.
I'm sure.
um it is crazy, but I like dabble in that now. And I have my Instagram still, but I also have a burner account for X. And
Mm,
as you said, like you'll see stuff on Facebook, you'll see stuff on Instagram. It's very it's partially restricted on those. X, there is no restrictions.
no.
I mean, I like
It's bad.
as you said, like, somebody may see my feed and be like, "Man, like, you need to help." Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
you don't even have to, like, look
Mm-mm.
any of it up. I mean, it's just there. You may see a fight, you may see some naughty, explicit things, like, you
Well,
like, it's just
exactly.
wide
And
open, like, man.
that's what happens. You watch a fight and then you see that and you stop for a second and then somehow it mixes them and
Yep.
then like and then it gets real bad. It reminds me of I'll tell you offline of what it reminds me like. It's bad and people are going to be like, "Dude, you're fucked up." It has to do with the army though. So,
And
dude,
and
it's
and that's what it is, like, you'll get on there, like, you'll create a brand new Twitter, and you'll scroll down 2 posts, and here's a fight, and you're like, "Oh, man," like, "Nope," and go to the next one, and it's explicit, and you're like, no, Imma keep going," and then but because you've now looked at both of them, that
you
algorithm
paused
mixes them together, so your next vision is domestic violence.
100%.
It's like, "Man, like, what happened? Like, what
Dude,
is going on?" Like,
don't
and
joke
that's
about
why I
that. Don't joke. Those dudes are gonna come back on here and start like calling me names and telling me I'm a terrible person because
yeah, like,
I
you
make
just
one DV joke. Like, dude, my wife would laugh if her lips weren't all swollen. Like, dude, she'd
yeah.
be cracking up about my jokes.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
right.
that's
She'd
how
whip
it
my
is, and,
ass.
like, it was I remember it was so funny because, as you said, like, the internet, like, just have fun, like, people
Yeah,
take stuff too serious, like, when Jesse Murph had brought me on stage, that night, like, in the moment, I was with a big group of my friends, and they were the ones that convinced me to go up there because I was like, "No, I'm good," and I'm like, "You know what? It's Jesse Murph, like, I'm going up there," and I had no anxiety at all, which is crazy because I have really bad anxiety, and walked up the ramp, like, I talked to her, she was super sweet, and I walked all the way down the stage with her, and she told me to take a seat, and I turned around and I saw 30,000 people, and my heart dropped.
I
And
bet.
there was the anxiety, and I'm like, "Oh, no." And I had, the concert was only about 45 minutes or so from my house, but me and my friends had still got an Airbnb like 10 minutes from the venue because it was a 2-day event, and we knew we were gonna be drinking, so we
Yeah,
Ubered and everything. And, we got back to the Airbnb that night after everything was all said and done, and a couple of posts had popped up. People had posted it, and one of them went viral. I think it was the one you had
yeah.
sent me here, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And there was, within 3 days, it had climbed over 1 million views,
That's dope.
and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And I'm going through the comments, and it was a good 80-20 mix. Like, there was 80% that were like so excited. You
Yeah,
had the weirdos that were talking about, how good me and Jesse Murphy would look together. Like, she's already forgotten me at this point. Like, and then
maybe.
you got the 20% of people that are just bashing me. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what did I do?
right.
Like, what did I got on the stage with a celebrity, like, overcame, like, this fear of anxiety to do that, the same stuff that, like, there's people that told me, like, like, I wouldn't have had the balls to do that. Like,
No
I
shit.
did like, I went and did this, and now, like, I'm getting bashed. It's the, "Oh, he's got a," he's got a ring on. Well, like, I wear rings on like 4 of my fingers. So I'm like, what the hell? And then there's the other one where it's like, oh, the look that he's giving her, and it's like, I wasn't really giving her a look. Like, I mean, there was a lot of eye contact for sure, but it was you're sitting, for me, it was not trying not to look at the crowd
Yeah.
because then the anxiety kicked up, and then, like, I'm looking at her, which I if you watched, like, the whole video, when I sit down, my head was down the whole time, and then she takes this paintbrush and picks my head up underneath my chin and makes me look at her, and for some reason, like, it calmed me. And if you've never let a woman paint you, I highly suggest it. It's the most relaxing thing in the world. But
Hmm.
she's going crazy with this paintbrush, and, like, I'm looking at her, and we finish, and before I went up there, her security guard had told me that there was to be, like, no physical contact, which I understood. Like, she's a huge celebrity, and I'm like, "Okay." And then, like, once it ends, like, she stands up and she puts her arms out to give me a hug, forgetting that she had just covered me in paint. So of course I go in for the hug, and now she's covered in paint. She had a white dress on, and like it was cool. Like she gave me a signed shirt, and then once it was done, she came to the end of the ramp, said goodbye and all that stuff. Like she was super sweet. Like for a
Yeah,
celebrity, like really down to earth.
that
And
that's
then like I just see like social media being social media.
yeah,
Like
they
here
just
comes like the
everybody's got a comment, and they got it, and it's always negative. Like, I catch myself doing it though. Like, I do this shit, like, I disagree with whatever the fuck they're talking about, and I'm such a know-it-all. I catch myself doing it, and it's like,
right,
stop, like,
right,
it's
yeah,
not to it's not to a degree like, there's some high level fucking hating going on. It's more
right,
of like
yeah,
a little troll thing, but yeah, dude, I don't know, man. We're at 2 hours, a little over 2
yeah. Hey, we
hours.
you could have a lot of cutting.
Dude, bullshit. Um, motherfucker,
Bullshit.
they're just gonna have to listen. I don't know, dude. Like, I guess I'm glad we kind of talked about it and like, listen, guys, if you take it the wrong way, you take it the wrong way. Uh it really ain't that big a deal. But you're talking about two dudes that, I don't know, man. I don't want to say just in our feelings, because it wasn't just that, but like, kind of had something to say, and definitely, I don't know, it didn't get hurt, or whatever.
Right.
Shit got, you know redlining, and this shit happens like that. But
Yeah.
like, also, you're talking about two dudes that are gonna say things like,
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna I'm not gonna not say nothing. I know you're the fuck. I definitely know you're not gonna not say
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
Shit. Um, so no, dude, I appreciate you coming on. Like, is there like any is there anything else, like, and I'm not coaxing you to say anything, or like, is there any like closing, or like anything you like feel like you shit I should have mentioned, that also me and Rich have a love child, or like some shit like that,
I think the biggest thing for me, and first and foremost, I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, dude, no, thanks for coming on.
Um,
Don't even worry
but
about that.
I think the biggest thing for me, like over the last 18 months, and as you said, like if they take it the wrong way, which they can say they won't, but a lot of them will.
Yeah,
And me saying all this, like I'm not intentionally trying to start chaos. I'm not, like, I'm just speaking the thoughts that every time I tried to speak them, I was muted. And that was my whole issue. And it goes back to the group where as I said, Friday night things definitely got rowdy. And I don't feel like I should have been removed from the chat, especially like everything that we've talked about in this video that just myself did for the group. But then I go and I start banning admins, and that also something I shouldn't have done. I'm not going to deny that I didn't have fun doing it, but it's like, for me, for me, like, I'm always, like, always, anybody that knows me, that watches this, and they're gonna see the trailer of me and you, and they're gonna be like, "Oh god,"
oh
like,
yes,
this is, and because anybody that knows us know that we don't beat around the bush, and
yeah,
and that's my whole thing with this, was clearing the air. Like, if you're not a member of the collective and you're watching this, there's a good 80% chance like they've dogged you. And that's cool. They've dogged me.
yeah,
Like it
yeah,
happens. Like, you don't take it serious, don't take it to heart. At the end of the day, like for me, I have to remember, especially since I got out of the hobby and I argue with people that are within the hobby, is my house isn't built of cardboard.
right. That's
So
good.
like
That's
that's
real good.
where that's where I have to just tell them, like, this is me, this is who I am, this is who I've always been. If I'm perceived as a jerk, or whatever they want to call me, like, I'll just add a new patch to my shirt and I'll wear it, and but it's not to be that. It's like I've had the same messages that you've received the last few days. Like what is Yoshi planning? What is Yoshi gonna do? What is and for me, like, I can honestly say this is where it all ends. Like, this is no matter how they take it, and I had multiple. Shout out to Nick Gamil that asked me, like, just let it go, and I can't. And my pride won't let me let it
I
go.
dig it, dude. I feel you. Oh
And
my god, I know.
and it's like, here we are. This is at the end of the day, like, there's still many guys in the collective that I got mad love for. There's many guys that are in the collective that could vanish tomorrow and I'd be satisfied. But and I'm sure it's the same. As sure,
Mhm.
sure we're on mutual ground. Me
Yeah,
and that and them people. But
just like
no, it's
life.
yeah, it's like, I have been vocal here lately about, I am getting back into the hosting now that I have the summer off. So I'm sure, they'll see me pop up in different groups, and I will be upfront and say that I am helping Razzle. I'm helping Razzle House
Hell
as
yeah.
much as I can. Like, super good dudes there. Giving them, like, all the tips and tricks that the collective claims they taught me. But like, it's at the end of the day, you like everything. I can't say that I never learned from anybody. Like, I learned how to run from Pat, even with the issues that me and Pat have now. Like, Pat's who taught me how to run. Like, I picked up, everything that I know from everybody. Like, I didn't wake up one morning and was like, "Oh, I'm a god at this." Like, that never happened. So,
Yeah.
no, I think my biggest thing with all of this is, like, this is me. This is 100% who I am. Like, I think the most excited for this when you told me that we weren't doing pre-written Q&As. Like, this was straight, raw, uncut, genuine emotion. Like, this
100%.
was and
I didn't know how to even go about that. I was like,
right, yeah,
what do I
and
do? I know what we're gonna end up going right to, so let's just fucking
I know, and that was like that was the kicker for me, was like, this whole thing, so you went right to the point.
yeah.
And I'm like, cool, like, this is, look, a lot like me. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Let's not hop in here and be like, so how's life? And do you miss cars? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, because we're
Yeah.
straight shooters. Like, that's who
Yeah.
we are.
Now, so this is the part where I'm not a straight shooter. Now watch, this is gonna be hilarious. So just listen. And then he scammed, and then he scammed, and then he scammed $5,000, $75,000. All right, now watch. Now I'll clip shit and put it all
Yeah.
together, and they're gonna watch the whole thing and go, "Where the fuck was that at?" And I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Gotcha, bitch."
Yeah, see, that's the amazing part for me, is like, and it crossed my mind about 20 minutes ago, is I'm like, we kind of went from like this to this, but then we
Yeah,
came back here. And then, like, I'm sitting here watching, and like I told you before we started, this, like, this dude's a wizard. Like, he'll run this whole thing backwards, and like, he'll
we'll
like
figure it
he'll
out.
get them on their toes, and it's like one of those, like, he'll grab their attention, like, instantly, and then make them watch to the last, like, 30 seconds to find the plot.
You have to. I
Yeah,
need
you
I
have
I
to,
I
like,
need like 17 minutes of viewership on YouTube if they'll
hey,
start passing it around. It's hard, dude. Like you got
yeah, yeah,
and like with TikTok and like Facebook, and so the algorithm doesn't get pushed, especially TikTok. The first 3 seconds is the world. So you have to
yeah,
keep them for three. And to get them to do that, you got like fuck cock balls. They gotta be locked in. So,
yeah.
you know, and then the guy,
TikTok is
no,
I
dude.
don't I don't know. I used to love TikTok, and like,
I
you and I, like, we follow each other on there, and if you go back, 6 years, when I downloaded TikTok, like, I didn't collect cars. I barely watched sports. And I downloaded TikTok because it was like 2 months after my brother had passed away, and he was obsessed with TikTok. And I'm like, "Okay, like, let's see what he saw in it." So, like, I downloaded to, like, tell his story, and
Hmm.
I downloaded, I tell his story, and I'm like, "Okay, well, what do we do next?" And all of a sudden, the videos start going viral. And I start blowing up with followers and everything else, and I'm like, "Okay, like, this is pretty cool." And
Mhm.
then I ended up, like, completely getting out of TikTok because the same thing, like, there's so much, like, drama
Mhm.
and chaos, and but as you said, like, one of the things I learned quickly was you have to grab their attention
Mhm.
instantly. Those first 3 seconds, like, you could be making a video about your dog,
Yep.
but in the first 3 seconds, you have to get on them, "Oh, you wanna fight me?" Like, you
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like, you have to draw their attention,
That
and
way they'll
that's
push it. It's
exactly, yeah.
it's truly crafting a certain kind of American when you really think about it and you want to get into the weeds with it. It's pretty fucked up with
Right.
all social media, but that's what we do, man. We play with it. I don't know, dude. Fuck it, man. Dude, thanks, Jonathan. It's fucking
Yes, sir.
this is sweet. I think it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to listen to it back. So,
Oh,
um,
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
it will be. I and like I said, I don't think there's gonna be much. Maybe some pauses, but really,
Right.
I don't see any point. I also don't remember anything we talked about because there was so much going on. So,
Yeah, we
but I don't see there being an issue. But dude, you're awesome. You always have been. I know
Likewise.
the guys that are maybe even a little upset with you. Um, agree to, and they know you, and they know what happened, and um, I can still like with the guys I'm mad at, I can say, "Hey, man, I love you guys and fuck you guys" at the same time.
Right,
Seriously,
yeah.
you get both of them, and you're probably going to get both of them for a while.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
But
Exactly.
anyways, I don't know, man. Dude, again, thanks for coming on and talking about it, and we'll see what happens. And tag me when you host, man. I'll come by and fuck. I'm gonna Hernandez it from now on and $1.
Hey.
I'm one
Hey, there
spot
you
in it.
go. That's the
Hell,
that's the way to do it.
yep,
That's the
yep.
way to do it.
I'm gonna be the one spot ninja part two.
Hey,
So
there you go.
hell yeah. So I don't know, man. Shit. We'll go wrap this up and we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
Hell
you.
yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, brother.
Later.
Later.